The universe is collapsing. The only way to save it is to watch Type 40.
Okay, it's time for Type 40 Live, your live stream Doctor Who magazine show, the live stream Doctor Who magazine show, materializing here on YouTube, Rumble, and Facebook, whichever platform, time stream, or time zone you're joining us from. God, he's all hyped up. Welcome. Yes, this is Type 40 Live. We hit your screen in real time with interrelative dimensional conversation, and always in front of a live chat full of friends, fans, and companions just like you. Good to be here again. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Yeah, this is where we talk about the world's longest running, best loved sci-fi and fantasy TV series and that whole universe around it, both on and off screen, in the all-important, all-new era too that is practically begun. I think we can hear the klaxons going off now, can't we? I think we're a month or so away from hopefully getting to see something or other, but yeah, for now you're stuck seeing us, seeing me anyway. I'm Dan Hadley, Birmingham's king of the geeks, and whoever you are, we'll find out in a moment or two, whichever platform you're on. Make yourselves known in the comments section. That's how it works. Please like the video now. You're going to be having far too much fun later on, I guarantee. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, check you're still subscribed, and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what's going on here next and when. Don't forget, if you're in the Facebook group as well, all our friends in the Type 40 Facebook group, hello everybody, you've got to hit the blue link. You know how it works. You know, Facebook tells us who you are. Through the wonder of StreamYard, we all get on first name terms to chew through another week in Doctor Who. That the news cycle that's starting to go up. I think we're in fourth gear now, not quite fifth. But it's all coming bit by bit. It's coming if we're patient, if we're patient enough. I think we've been patient enough for between us for about 6 or 7 regeneration cycles worth, haven't we? But yeah, just a little while to wait. No time to wait to bring in my cohorts on this live stream edition of the show. Who've I got first? I'm happy to say that she's back. We've got Charlotte Shields here. Hi, Charlotte.
Hello, everybody. And it's like suddenly somebody woke up at the BBC News, isn't it? Somebody had a bit of a wake-up call.
Remember that show about the guy in the blue box?
Yeah. Oh, maybe we should actually promote it and talk about it because it's next month.
Yeah, we've heard 1 or 2 people could be interested.
Yeah.
So, you okay? How's your week been?
I know it's been good, and I'm not loving the fact that now we are in winter. It's now proper here. So being out in the wet hasn't been fun, but it's brilliant that we can be here talking, and we've got stuff to talk about. We have. Just wait until the clocks change again in a few weeks' time. Oh, yeah. And when you haven't done one in your house and you forget about it until you're almost late because of it. Yeah, I wonder how many clocks the first Doctor had in this console room. He had at least one, didn't he? Had a standing one, I think it was, back in the early days. Yeah, but I can picture the first Doctor not wanting a lot of clocks, being like just wanting one nice big one. I could picture the first Doctor. He'd got his pocket watch as well, hadn't he? So that's at least yes, he did. At least 2. Let's see if Simon Horton can think of any other clocks. Let's see if we can get the tally up from 2.
Well, good evening. Yeah, the first Doctor, of course, had the famous Ormolu clock, That's what it was. It was an Ormolu clock, which I haven't got a clue to this day what an Ormolu clock is, but it's a very ornate. I'm gonna have a look at it in a second and see if I can find out for you what an Ormolu clock is. But it's a very ornate with sort of metal filigree fine ornamentation, and it's not on that shot for some reason.
Is it because it's got the cycles of metal, the gears? There's gears within gears of one of.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's the kind of thing that it was. And so that's what it was. There we are. So it was the Ormolu clock. That's the only clock I think he actually had in the first Doctor's era. I remember Patrick Troughton would often wear a watch. There's quite a few shots of him wearing a watch, which I always think is rather bizarre. Why has he got a watch on?
I get the impression that was his own watch, and he couldn't be asked to take it off, or wanted to make sure when the bell rings, he was able to get his bus or whatever it was, because Patrick Troughton didn't like to hang about, did he?
He certainly didn't. I've just got to hang on 2 seconds. Don't go anywhere, because... Yeah, little Lenny, you might just about hear crying in the distance. Yeah, Lenny wants to be on camera there. Say hello, Lenny. He wants... He was sitting at my feet crying because he knew Type 40 was on, and he's like, hello, I'm supposed to be on Type 40 this week, I'm sure.
My people are waiting.
Sorry about that, everybody. Yeah, Lenny's in the building.
I think a lot of people cry when they realise that we're on again for one reason or another. More people to bring on. There's a couple of people who haven't materialised yet, but we have got one. We've got this guy. We've got our friend from the Nerd Den, tucked away in the Nerd Den at an undisclosed location. It's a bit like a bunker, isn't it? Like the one in Genesis of the Daleks. I'd like to think it's a bit nicer than that. But maybe he's about to tell us. What's the Nerd Den like then, Jack? What's it like from the outside?
From the outside, it looks nice. On the inside, could do a little bit of a clean, but I always procrastinate and never get around to it.
You and me both, mate. You and me both.
You've got problems, Jack. Trust me. My desk is literally an inch thick in dust because I've been having walls knocked out this week. So don't you worry about it, mate. It's all good.
Well, never mind your desk. How's your Zygon and your Mara looking, Simon?
Absolutely. There they are in private place yet again. A little big shout out yet again once more to Tom Alford. Hello, Tom. I am going to give you a buzz. He keeps phoning me. I just haven't had a second. I'm really sorry. Been a mad week. I'll give you a buzz. Don't you worry. And I've got to just say as well, Anthony Berryman in the chat tells me, and I trust him, Ormolu is a clock of brass construction. So there we go. It's brass filigree and ornamentation. Apparently,
we do have our live chat on Rumble, Facebook, and YouTube is a veritable fountain of knowledge, isn't it?
They're brilliant. Everybody knows. If we don't know it, they will know it, which is fantastic. That's what they're there for.
They're authorities on just about everything. I think we've got all subjects covered between us, haven't we? And a favourite topic of ours lately, I think it's almost replacing food of late, come to think of it too, is fashion, Simon. And now I wanted to ask you about this in particular. Because,
don't show me another picture of Shooty in a stupid costume.
Well, I suppose my first question to you is Asda, Tesco or Sainsbury's? Which of those three do you prefer?
Oh, Sainsbury's.
Sainsbury's. Oh, you did surprise me.
100%.
Well, you may want to change that answer when you see what's coming to stock at George, which is their clothes outlet in most Asdas, isn't it, Jack?
Yes.
You ever pop into Asda and see that? Yeah, so they've been around for a number of years, haven't they? I did know the story about why it's called George, but I've forgotten it.
Oh,
I'm sure it's really
boring. I'm not sure what the story is though.
I've got a son called George. He thinks he was named after George Lucas, but he was actually named after Asda's fashion line.
Really, don't tell him that. Really,
because obviously, as Charlotte was just explaining, the nights it's getting a little bit chillier, getting a little bit darker.
I love it.
And you might want to get the winter woolies out. Have you been thinking about getting the winter wardrobe out yet?
Listen, I love winter. What about you, Jack? I love it.
Yeah, winter's a vibe for me. Because getting closer to Christmas. Doctor Who's also back on at Christmas as well. So,
yeah. Well, the beauty about what I'm about to show you next is, you could always pop it on the old Christmas list, or if you want to upgrade your winter wardrobe, you can head down to George and Asda, and you can pick up this, Simon. Can you think why I saw this and thought of you?
Oh my God, I love that. I have to have that, Dan. Seriously, I have to have that. That is clearly, it's a season 18 jumper, isn't it?
Well, I wondered if it was just me, I have to be honest.
That's a season 18 jumper. Those are the colours from the season 18 scarf and the way they're blending into each other and that you're in stripes. Wow, that is, I've got to have that, Dan.
Well, you'd be pleased to know.
I'm not kidding. When are these in stock? I need it. I really need that.
They're in stock now. They'll cost you 18 quid is all, but there could be a run on them. Obviously, once the stream goes up, we've got a few Doctor Who fans probably heading right down to their local Asda now to pick that up and get their Tom on there.
I really want one of those. I am hunting that down. If I can manage to get it sorted, I'm coming on the show wearing my season 18 jumper. I love that.
So, Dan, is that just down as like a normal jumper?
Yeah, it's not in their Doctor Who section. I don't think they've got a Doctor Who section.
No, I was just like they could have maybe collabed and done it for the 60th, but no, it's just a normal.
No, it's just a jumper.
I can't see anything on the labelling there. There's no diamond logo there, but we could always go down and slap some stickers on them, couldn't we? Yeah, depending. So let us know. At the Asda near you, have they got any of these? We're claiming this as a season 18 jumper. Let us know if they've got any in stock, or maybe you've picked one up yourself. You might want to snap a picture, get a selfie on the go, and send it to us Instagram and Twitter at Type40Doctor. Oh dear. Yeah. As for the rest of it, well, all of the toys are coming out of the box. Never mind the clothes for Type 40 Live this time, preparing for the 60th anniversary, as Jack said. We've got an old enemy to look up, as well as the usual mix of news, views, banter, nostalgia, giggles, all that kind of stuff. And whoever manages to materialise onto the panel between now and when we wrap it up. We have got a live chat full of our friends, fans and companions there. That I think it's about time we checked in with them and see what's doing. What do you think, Simon? Yes, we've got double thumbs up. Any more thumbs? Any advance on 2 thumbs? Oh, 4.
I can't do more than.
Hang on, I'll do I've got my foot up as well.
Here we go, Jack's doing it.
Yes, victory, everybody, victory. Let's go see what they've got to say about all this nonsense.
I'm Leela of the 70, and you should watch Type 40.
I would. You wouldn't say no to her, would you? Let's be honest.
I'd watch whatever you say, Leela. Yes, so thank you everybody who's joining us, as always, across the streaming platforms for Type 40 Live this time. A few people were very early on the buzzer, some real-time travellers clocking in, including, he says as he tries to avoid the jump, Lord Thoth.
Hello, Lord Thoth.
Hello.
Everyone, Lord Thoth. There he is. And so is Michael. He's here too, playing. I think he's... What is he doing? He's either sitting on an outside toilet or playing an organ somewhere. What's he doing?
Not to ask.
Yeah, maybe he'll tell us later on. He was a little bit early, but of course, this is time travel, Michael, so it's permissible. It's permissible. Hello, everyone, says Gallifrey Angel C. That's Cheryl. Hi, Cheryl. We talked about Cheryl. We had your wonderful pictures up on screen the other night, didn't we, on our Mental Health Day special there. Thank you for letting us have those pictures and for sharing your story. I do hope you've enjoyed the rest of your week. Remember Cheryl, Simon?
Absolutely, 100%.
Hello to all the children of time, Charlotte. That includes you.
I know, and I like the reference.
I don't think I'm not a child of time, I don't think. Sorry, Michael, but I'm not.
Delete where applicable. Hello, family. Where does he get those wonderful toys? Well, no, it's too early. You're back, Mark.
You're not at the watershed yet, Dan.
It hasn't. Oh, it's just about been 15 minutes, so I can say bollocks. Great. Good. That's one of the
You got it out your system.
I can also say hello, Vanessa.
Hello, Vanessa.
Hello, everyone. Just a quick hi. I'm still trying to rearrange my schedule, so I'll be in and out of the chat. It's a challenge, let me tell you, but I will be listening the whole time. Well, I've said a naughty word already, Jack.
Nice to have you on board. Yeah,
I will incur the wrath. Kelly's in from not so sunny Florida. Oh no, I don't feel sorry for you. The weather's fantastic all year round, isn't it?
Yeah. Bad weather in Florida is never like bad weather here. Let's be honest.
No. Darren M's here too. Howdy and hail.
Hello, howdy, Darren.
And all. It covers everything, doesn't it? I like that one. Covers everything. A maker of toys, says Richard Brooks. A chilling premise. Who is already in in the toy box. Well, you could say that I have been all my life. Ahoy shipmates from Crimpling Doubloon and an evening type 40ers from
Hello,
Wendy.
Oh, I like that.
Wendy
Type
herself.
40ers. Yeah, that's good. I like that.
Yeah, it sounds like an American football squad, doesn't it? Type 40ers. Yeah.
Yeah, it does actually, doesn't
I'm
it?
a quarterback with the type 40ers. Ahoy, me matey, Crimpling Doubloon. See, they're ahoying one another now. Ahoy is really catching on, isn't it? Ahoy. Yeah, they can't get enough repeat business on the Ahoy. The classic 80s fanboys here too there. Oh, he says, hi everyone, Jack. And so does who else? Oh, Michael. Yeah, Michael, you're very, very busy. And so is Anthony Berryman there with a good evening, everyone.
Oh, and I've got to say, Anthony Berryman has corrected himself. Apparently, an ormolu clock is of hold on, he's changed it. Was it bronze or brass? I can't remember. He originally said one, and he's changed it to the other one. Hold on, I can't find it now. Is it bronze or brass? People will be having sleepless nights if we don't. It's bronze. It's bronze, not brass. Okay.
Victory. The last we know.
Who would have thought? It's your fault, Dan, for mentioning clocks.
Hello, everybody, says Oti.
Hello, Oti.
Hello.
I always say Oti because I can't pronounce the full name. So we've got Paul Flint in too, and we've got Gary Browser as well, and Julian Raxall. I haven't seen Julian around for a while. Good evening, everyone. I trust you're all well. I'm well, Charlotte. How are you?
I'm very, for once, I'm actually not ill, so that's good.
We're well. We're well-ish. We're well-ish, Julian. I hope you're well too, mate. Thank you for joining us. Evening all from Simon Ashley. And
evening, Simon.
The children of time are all assembled. Are we well assembled though? That's the thing. Or are we like an IKEA table that's about to completely collapse any second? Gregory Jones is in too. Hi everyone. A very cool picture that Gregory's got there.
That is a very cool picture. That is. We're not worthy, Greg.
Yeah, chilling, very chilled out. And Electric Expul is here too. Hello all. And so is the Cybermat Strikes with a high space bookers. Got one from the Nerd Den. Oh, that's you.
That's me. Hey, hello, me.
There you go. The wonders of time travel here on Type 40 Live. We don't just talk about it, we demonstrate it too. We've got Chris from Black Glove Studios there as well in the live chat. And so is Raymond Williams. We've got Woodhouse 122 as well with that laughing emoji. And who else? And Ada McGear too, fighting some demons. I mustn't spoil myself. Ooh.
That's got to be the most cryptic message so far.
I know. I was trying to work that out. I saw it in the chat.
We need a bit of elaboration there, Aidan.
It reminds me, Simon, of, do you remember in the Radio Times in the 80s, they didn't used to put like a blurb for what the episode of Doctor Who was going to be. They'd include a line of dialogue completely out of context. A lot of them were like that.
You're right. Yeah, they did. They did do a line of dialogue, didn't they? I used to like that.
So did I. Good evening, everyone from Glenn Piper. And various other people dropping in and dropping by too, including the Thin King. Hail. All outer rim of the interdimensional showboat.
Wow, catchy. Equally cryptic.
Yeah, I'm trying to picture that in my head now, Jack, what that would look like. Scary.
I want to be there, wherever it is. I want to be on that outer rim, please.
Did you hear Guillermo del Toro is doing a Frankenstein movie? I did hear that, but I'm not sure what it's got to do. Is anybody from Doctor Who in it? That's, I suppose, what we want to know. Oh, Andrew Garfield's in it. So yes, he is.
There we go.
Doctor News says Wendology, and we've got a hi there from Sam as well. So all wonderful stuff. Nice to see so many familiar names, and I think we've got a couple of new people as well. Oh, at the Darren Zone. Couldn't possibly wrap this up without saying hello to the Darren Zone.
Darren.
Hello, Darren.
There's no better place to be on a Thursday night. Greetings, everyone. Well, greetings to you too, Darren. It wouldn't be the same without you. And we've got Glenn Piper in as well. The wait, he says, yeah, we are practically here. The 60th anniversary and the all-new Doctor Who. The wait is almost over. Very exciting, stepping into a brand new era. It very much is. And new stories are breaking all the time. In fact, an official one broke about half an hour before we're due to come on. But we've got lots to talk about anyway. We'll get around to all of it in due course. Just stick with us, and we're sure to cover it. We've got Carol Jude in. We've got John Yulden, who says Lenny the Legend as well.
Hello, John.
Lots of love for little Lenny. Yeah.
Little Lenny. Yeah, he's still here. He's busy. He's busy. I'm afraid he's busy chewing his bed as we speak. I'm not kidding you. So if you hear chewing noises, it is Lenny. I'm afraid.
And Sam says, "Why would Troughton need a watch? Hasn't he got an iPhone or
No, Troughton's far too cool to have.
That is a funny
iPhone.
image, though. His doctor with an iPhone.
Can you imagine Troughton with an iPhone? No, you
Yeah,
can't.
someone like
Imagine the first Doctor with an iPhone. Oh no.
Oh, Troughton would break it within like 20 minutes of having hold of it.
Yeah, and Hartnell would be far too grubby with it. Pertwee, I can see the third Doctor handling an iPhone, no problem at all. That would work for him, one of his gadgets.
I'm happy to say that the fashionistas that we have watching, because obviously they're all experts on fashion and on music and food in the live chat on Type 40 Live, Jack, and they're very taken with that jumper.
Oh, well,
now. How do we know that Ian is actually talking about the jumper?
Well, apparently somebody's ordered it, so I don't know if you can.
Oh, really? Well, we need photos. We need photos of this jumper.
Anthony Berriman says that's hitting my Crimbo list. Yeah. And Tony L says, nice jumper. I'll be getting that. And Gary Bowden says, looks good, the jumper, no state of decay.
And it is very state of decay, Gary. Very state of decay, that jumper. Love it.
Oh, apparently Michael is sat by a waterfall in his picture.
Oh, now we can see it. Of course it is there up on the top right. Yeah, we can see it now.
Makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Makes absolute sense. And yeah, all is well so far. Keep the comments coming by all means. We're all ears and eyes for whatever you've got to say about the various stuff that we're going to drag out to debate on this edition of Type 40 Live. As always, in front of everybody there on YouTube, Rumble, and on Facebook. More people are due to materialise. I'm assured. I think Shah is trying to break through the dimensional barriers as we speak, or it could be just her signal is playing up. Hopefully, she'll make it, because I know she's got something good. She's got something to show us all, a gift from a viewer. I think she wants to get on screen. So hopefully she does manage to break through there. Okay, yes, more comments as the stream continues, but thank you everybody for being here. Back in again in a moment for more.
Click the buttons. Like and subscribe. Click the buttons. Click the buttons. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.
Yeah, I wouldn't argue.
Yeah,
I wouldn't argue.
I wouldn't argue with them.
No way. Yeah, so here on Type 40 Live, we are very much champions of physical media. That has to be admitted. I'm proudly a supporter of both Blu-rays and DVDs. I still buy a lot of DVDs myself, but times do change and it has to be accepted. That option in 2023 it isn't for everybody, is it, Simon? For one reason or another. You and I, though, have been saying for several years. In fact, I think you've been saying it for decades. Even though we've bought these Blu-rays, we bought the DVDs, and a lot of us bought the videotapes of classic Doctor Who. Part of your argument has always been, hasn't it? Well, if anybody's a license fee payer, we've already paid for these to be made. Why on earth are we expected to pay for them again and again? And again.
I know, it really does always feel very, very awkward to me. I mean, I guess the difference now is, for example, with the Blu-ray range, you're paying for various extra features.
Yeah,
fair enough. But the VHS, to be fair, you were literally just paying for the episode that you had already paid to be made. So it does feel a little bit. I always thought that if you got a license, you should get a discount on them. So if you haven't paid for your license, fair enough, you should pay to buy it. But if you pay to have it made, I don't know. Always felt a bit awkward to me. I never quite understood how the BBC could square that one. Do you remember they used to call it? What was it called? BBC exploitation. Back in the day, it was called BBC. It was literally called BBC exploitation. Can't imagine it, can you? That's what the department.
Who are they exploiting? Well, a conversation that I've had several times over the years, Jack, has been with people who are interested in Doctor Who. They either used to enjoy it or do enjoy it or are curious about it. And they say, I remember that one that was on when I was a kid. What they always ask, well, what was that one? What was it called? Who was in it? They usually get it wrong, but they remember something, some hazy memory. But a lot of them say, I'd love to see that again. And you'd say, where can I find that? And I'd always say, well, DVDs are available, or Blu-rays, or videos are available. I used to lend out videotapes and things to people who are curious. But there was obviously, with people who aren't that interested in Doctor Who, having that paywall there, as Simon has often speculated, why should I pay for something I've already paid for? It's a barrier to people, and they just go off and watch something else, don't they? They go and watch something that's on the television, something that's more accessible to them.
Yeah, and I think as well, when they struggle to know what it is in the first place, are they really going to go through the latest HMV or whatever the local HMV to go and find a DVD? It's just
to try and find out what's what, and then work out which is the story that they want to see from when they were a kid.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
This is one of the reasons, though, that I applaud this. This news that broke just this week, that over 800 episodes of Doctor Who are going to land on BBC iPlayer. And so this is the BBC's press office that let this news out. This is part of what Russell T Davies is calling Whovember, Simon. That's a very Russell T Davies term, isn't it?
That's awful. Yeah.
But this is almost every single episode of the series right from the start. So it says in the BBC's blurb directly from their press office, is about to arrive on the BBC streaming platform iPlayer for the first time ever, after previously only being available across several platforms and channels and things. It's been on BritBox, it's been on the Horror Channel, it's been here, there and everywhere, but only ever in clumps, Charlotte. You're somebody who's tried to come to it in a sort of piecemeal form, haven't you? Is it often frustrated you that you can't just watch it all in one place?
Well, I think it would be impossible just time-wise, because obviously my first thing was New Who, and then I had to very much go back to watch Classic. And it was a bit annoying. Like a couple of years ago, I would every week I'd watch a Classic story. That's how I did it. And I'd would start with first Doctor, then watch a second Doctor, then a third, and do it that way. And it was just a bit annoying to find my way around to get the episodes, I'll put it that way, because I couldn't buy all the DVDs. And I think there's a lot of people who are sort of my age and Jack's age who obviously we weren't around when Classic Who was first on telly, so it is a going back exercise. And having it all in one place is just so much easier. And I think it's a really good experience that, like you said, if you wanted to, you'd have to do it piecemeal, and it works that you could just go, oh, I'll have a look at the Doctor Who tab. Oh, I'll watch this Doctor. And because of BritBox, I was like, when are they going to do it on iPlayer? Because BritBox had the paywall. They've obviously done all the hard work now to compress or whatever they had to do with the episodes so they could be shown on modern devices.
After excuse you a moment, Charlotte, I've just noticed there's something wrong with our graphic there. I've just going to put this right.
Thank you.
All sorts now. Yes. So Simon. So Simon, how do you feel about this? I mean, is the iPlayer something you'd be tempted to boot up? And what do you think about it, generally speaking, as an innovation and as a momentous event in Doctor Who history?
I think it's about time they did it. I really do, because it does come back to what we just said, that if you've paid for the episodes to be made, you should be able to rewatch them without paying again. And I used to think it was horrendous that they were hidden behind the paywall on BritBox. It just seemed really, really mean to me. And of course, that was the only way they managed to get people to subscribe to BritBox, because everybody wanted to see Doctor Who. And I think I'm right in saying that Doctor Who was by far the most watched stuff on BritBox. So without Doctor Who, they just wouldn't have had BritBox. But it always left a very bad taste in my mouth that we're having to pay for them. So yeah, I think it's fantastic. Finally, they're exactly where they should be on BritBox, so that for people, because let's be honest, those Blu-ray box sets, as much as we love them, they aren't cheap. They are expensive. We are in a cost of living crisis. People can't afford them all. And so finally, fantastic, brilliant. Thank you, BBC, for doing something good and putting them all on there. And as Charlotte says, it's just nice to know that they will all be in the one place, and you can just dip in to your heart's content. And people that did get hooked on Doctor Who through the New Who years can now, without it costing them anything at all, as long as they're a BBC license player, can go and have a look at them. And brilliant. I'm really, really pleased to hear that, because it can only do the show good. Whatever happens, it's all good for the show. to have those episodes up there for anybody to go and watch at any point they want to. It's not going to do the brand any harm whatsoever. On the contrary, it reinvigorates the brand and allows people to remember why they loved Doctor Who in the first place, which again, this moment in time is absolutely essential.
Critical. It's critical to what's going to go forward. I mean, the way I perceive it is that I'm an optimist by nature, you see, Jack. And the way I see it is that if this is going to work, and I think it's going to work, the anniversary event in effect and the restart of the brand. But if it's going to really take hold with people, they have to capitalize on that initial spark of interest. You're selling it on. It's 60 years of this. And now people can boot this up, not just on their TV, but on any device, on a phone, a tablet, wherever. And they don't even have to have childhood memories of the show from either the new series or the classic series. They can literally just dive in. What's your take on the iPLAYER innovation?
Well, I think, to be honest, about time, because I've always found it a bit annoying that most of Doctor Who's history, it was locked behind a paywall of sorts. And as Simon said, the Blu-ray box sets are incredible, but they are very expensive, and the price has only just gone up as well. And I think, with the iPLAYER stuff, from reading the press release, there's accessibility options as well for, people that are hard of hearing and, have eyesight issues. So it's more accessible as well, again, about time. And, it opens it up to people who might have not seen Classic Who before and can tune in and see some running down corridors and running through quarries, all the stuff we love.
Or all the things that people associate with Doctor Who. I mean, that's another factor about this as well, Jack. I'm glad you've reminded me, because we've got a quote here from the guy who is the director of iPLAYER. This is Dan McGolpin, who says that there are subtitles, audio description, and sign language available on all episodes for the very first time. That's a real concerted effort, Simon. They must have been working on this for months.
That's a real dedication to it. I'd love to see. I'm intrigued to see some of the sign language. What is sign language for Dalek, for Crotons, for mechanoids? I'd love to know that. But yeah, Jack's absolutely right in what he says, that it's good to have all those episodes there. The one thing I would say, and I know somebody commented about this in the chat, they were saying, will they be sort of the remastered episodes with the option, for example, to watch them with CGI effects? I'm almost there. We go. Thank you, John. John, to answer you, I would imagine almost certainly that will be a no. They won't have the updated SFX. And to be honest, for my money, they absolutely shouldn't do. We should be putting only the original episodes up there, exactly as they were broadcast on the BBC.
Remaster them so they look.
Remaster them. Undoubtedly, I'll be amazed if they don't put the remastered HD versions up there where they've got them. And in most cases, they have now. But no, I think that the whole point is they should be, as I say, as they were first screened on television, for purity's sake, but also because, again, if you're buying those Blu-ray box sets, you've got to have some reason to keep on buying them. It's only fair that those are made for the Blu-ray box sets, and so that's where you get those episodes. I think we can go too far with this. For me, the purity of the original episodes as they were broadcast, that's perfect as far as I'm concerned. It's all anybody would need.
And I do think as well, it's going to work really well to be with the Toymaker stuff, that obviously if you were to maybe watch the specials in November time and you haven't got that context, you haven't seen the classic of the Toymaker.
Yeah.
Dependent, obviously, we don't know how much Russell's written it that you need to know this, but I can't help but think it will mean more when you watch him again, when you watch him come back in the new stuff, if you've got that grounding already.
Well, that's the same with any returning creature as well, isn't it? If they announce, say, the Daleks are back or the Cybermen are back, people as a family, Jack. I mean, I would imagine that you with your family, how encouraging are they of your interest in Doctor Who? Come to think of it, did you say your mum grew up watching it?
Yeah, well, both my mum and dad did, and in terms of encouragement, they've. Well, to be honest, all the merch that I've got, practically all of it, they've bought me over the years. So, yeah, they've been really supportive about that. And they even tune into the YouTube every now and then as well.
That's lovely.
Hello, Jack's mum and dad.
When you have those
Hi, Mum and Dad.
conversations, though, it's a case of, oh, I remember, like you might get excited. Oh, the Daleks are back. What are they going to look like this time? Blah, blah. Oh, I remember when they first went upstairs in 1988. And people, people reminisce about times from their lives and from their not just their fandoms, if you're a fan of it, but just from little things that they remember. Gary Browser's asking, so 800 includes New Who? Yes, it's everything. This is literally everything. It also includes Torchwood. That's in there too. Sarah Jane Adventures, Class, and every episode of Doctor Who Confidential too, the original behind-the-scenes documentary series that they've kind of regenerated into Doctor Who Unleashed to go with the new.
Dan, what about when they've got incomplete stories? If there's an episode missing, are they? Do you know if they're doing those?
I would imagine they won't be including those, but I don't know for certain. I don't know how they've come by that figure of 800.
Okay.
So I would say if I was them, and in the interests of accessibility, I personally would only put complete stories up myself.
I would agree. But it might be nice. You never know if they were to put an extra little a little shop on there where you could just go and have a look at sort of a miscellanea of missing.
I think in time there will be scope for that. I think for the time being, the novelty of having this wealth of material is going to be enough for most people. And then, because you've effectively got a second launch, then they can say, okay, say when Series 14 starts, Jack, and it's like, okay, thank you for watching all of this on iPlayer. Do you want some more? Well, you've got all of these sort of orphaned episodes. Come and get stuck into that lot. Have some of that. That's great news. Well done, BBC. Better late than never, says Richard Brooks there, Charlotte. I think that's the general mood.
Yeah, and it's like you said, this is obviously taken effort. It's taken being organised, which the BBC traditionally is not good at doing. And I wouldn't be surprised if some people at Bad Wolf were pushing for this, or Russell. We don't know.
It would make sense. Yeah,
it would make sense. They were pushing for this.
It was funny you should say Russell, because it was on his wish list. And we've got a quote here from the big man himself. He says, what does he say? Where are you, Russell? There you are.
It's going to have big words.
He says, I'm so excited for new viewers. Imagine being 8 years old, spending winter afternoons exploring the 60s, 70s, 80s and beyond. And we're determined this won't be a dusty museum. We have exciting plans to bring the catalogue to life with much more to be revealed. So, this was a rousing round of applause from Russell T Davies. This was something that he'd been pushing for a very long time. In fact, I think he mentioned it in a press release months and months ago. So he's made up about this, and I think a lot of the viewers are going to be as well. Gambit says in the live chat, Simon, you can keep your compressed streams. I'll crack on with the Blu-rays, but it's cool. They'll be on. They'll be on. This is what's important, isn't it? That whatever you come into it for.
Totally. That makes total sense to me, because if you want to and can afford to go and get the Blu-rays, you go and get those in beautiful HD quality. But for everybody else who isn't quite so bothered about that sort of picture quality, then it's on there for them to have a look at as well, in a compressed form. But absolutely, Gambit, that's the whole point of it to me. It works on every level.
Exactly.
Michael says, I used to watch the series broadcast on France 4, but they stopped the series and now it's only available somewhere else, but not in broadcast order. Tough times, Michael, tough times.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. I've always, it's always obviously more hard for people overseas to get this kind of stuff. It's always a bit hit and miss, isn't it? And for a while, it was very, very hit and miss in the UK. We couldn't, for a long time, we couldn't get anything in the UK. Whereas in the States, for example, it was on every single day. So it's always been hit and miss. It's never good enough, is it?
It's certainly a great way for a new young generation. For the new young generation of viewers whose first viewing could be the specials, to have that back catalogue to dip your toe into. Boy, imagine being one of those kids, says Tony.
Anthony, I've said this before now. I am so envious of anybody who has still to dip their toe into all or even any classic Who, because you've just literally got
I've still got gaps.
Oh, I'm so
when I heard this, I was like, I can finally fill in some of my Tom Baker gaps, because there's just so many stories of his and some of the other Doctors.
I just think it'd be so thrilling to. I'd love to be in a position to think there is Doctor Who out there that I've never seen. I'd love to do that.
Got a couple of comments about BritBox in the live chat. People asking. TARDIS Time says, "Is it still a thing in America?" I think it's been a great success. In Britain, less so. So a lot of the material, it's now kind of morphed into ITVX. And ITV and the BBC and Channel 4 are all going. They're all going in on another project to do with upgrading Freeview instead. So I think that what we're seeing is a separation of ITV and BBC interests with streaming platforms. In fact, I think if it wasn't for BritBox, which of course was a subscription model, wasn't it, Jack? If it wasn't for BritBox, we may have got all of Doctor Who a few years ago in the one place, I think.
Yeah, certainly.
And I always just think I can see how, for example, ITV might have a paywall and a subscription service. But going back to what we said just very briefly, it's just always felt really awkward. The BBC charging for something they've already charged for. It just feels it rankles somehow. It feels uncomfortable.
I know that Ian David Diaz is trying to break through our dimensional dampeners, but I can't quite grab him. It's a bit like trying to get hold of the Fourth Doctor in the Five Doctors. I hope he's going to break through at some point because he is here. Cliff Maxwell says this signals that, for me, that since the iPlayer is free in Britain and the Disney platforms are separate from the Disney Plus US subscription, that it'll be on Disney Plus around the same time or shortly after. So he's talking particularly about the new material there.
Yeah,
I would imagine so. I would imagine it would drop within probably an hour of the BBC showing. I would like to think it will go on exactly the same time.
Yeah.
Obviously in our evening, Jack, so it'd be on the morning for Americans. That'd be my guess.
Or maybe this could be a dry run for how they would structure it on Disney Plus a little bit. They're almost doing it first on the iPlayer where it's free and everybody can access it. And then Disney might look at that and they'll still have their own plans. I very much believe so, but this could help inform maybe what Disney is thinking of doing on their streaming.
The Darren Zone asks here, speculates, I hope there'll be no censorship or ridiculous content warnings on the iPlayer listings.
There will be.
My guess is there will be as well, Simon. I'd say that's a given.
I'd like to think there won't be any censorship, but undoubtedly there will be content warnings. There'll be no doubt about that at all.
I think this is the kind of thing that, for better or worse, we've got to just sort of clench our teeth and put up with for the time being, Jack.
Forever.
I would imagine that
on everything.
It doesn't affect my enjoyment personally, but I can see why it grates on people like Darren.
Yeah, it grates on me enormously. I'm fed up of being told that I'm likely to be offended by something that was made any time before 1990. It is offensive. But there we go. It's the new world. It's the new brave world we live in.
Peter Harrington suggests if you make good Doctor Who, just like with Field of Dreams, they will buy it. I think people do seem to be generally really pleased about this. Got a good point, Jack, from Richard Brooks.
Thank you.
Got choice is cool, says Richard Brooks as well. I don't think anybody can argue with that, can they?
That's the whole point of it.
Yeah, but lots of physical media fans as well, steelbooks, Blu-rays, and I think choice is the key word, choice. For me, this is a big win. I'm thinking of the curious. It's not for us. It's for them, and this is a way that they can scratch that Doctor Who itch in an affordable way. If they've already got a TV license, it's there for them. And then there's the younger ones as well, who a lot of kids under the age of 11, 12. You hand them a DVD and they don't know what it is. That's scary, but it's true. Yes, so let us know what you think of all of that. If you are a license fee payer, you think it's about time. And if you haven't got a shelf full of DVDs and Blu-rays and things like that, and you haven't seen some of this stuff in a while, which is the first season you're going to dart back to first? What are the stories you're going to tick off on the list? Maybe you've got a list like Charlotte's, you've been working your way through them. Which are the stories you're going to go right to when all of Doctor Who is at your fingertips with the click of a hoofa doofa? Yes,
say that.
Yeah, hoofa doofa. I'm going to get lots of mileage out there to the phrase hoofa doofa. Yeah, unfortunately, there are no broadcast dates for the 3 Doctor Who specials yet. And we speculated a little while ago about that they could tie in with the release of the 3 Target books. So we're looking at, the first one being published on Monday, the 13th of November. That would make it therefore likely that the first special would premiere on Saturday, the 11th of November, and then the other specials to fall into line with the other books too. So that's just speculation at the moment, but I can't see how that cannot be something that is grounded in some form of reality. It'd be good if we had these dates, but you can't have everything. It does. We do know now, though, don't we, Jack, from Doctor Who magazine. So Doctor Who magazine has been published today, issue number 596. There we are. There's mine as well to prove to people I actually buy this bloody thing. There we are. Yeah. So I've been going through this a little, and yeah, in this, Russell T Davies does confirm that none of the specials will air on Thursday, the 23rd of November. Are you disappointed with that, Jack? Now we know it for certain, or do you think, okay, at least we know now, we can just get on with things?
I mean, I'm a bit disappointed, but then I understand because it's during the week, so it does make sense. But I am a little bit curious though, because he did mention 2 other dates in November to watch out for, and I'm like, what you got cooking there, Mr. RTD?
I mean, I'd really, really like to think if one of the specials is not on the anniversary date, I'd love to think that there will be some Doctor Who will be marked in somewhere in the BBC. Surely BBC 4 will give itself over to a Doctor Who night, won't it? I would like to think.
We do have some sort of news about all of that, about what could be coming. We have winks and whispers from Doctor Who magazine, from the showrunner Russell T Davies himself. There's little details squirreled away inside this new edition. That's issue number 596, and we're going to get some of it up on screen now. But I'm happy to say that also up on screen, yes, she is. Yes, she storms to victory and takes the panel by storm as always. It's Shaw. Hello, Shaw. Good evening. How are you?
Hi.
Like never. You're right, my duck.
Oh, I know. I am genuinely so sorry. My computer very kindly decided it was going to do some update, and it never. And I think it's actually come through even better than it has before. So there's that. But hello, everyone.
We're happy to have you back. Happy that you're here. You're just in time for the morsels, the sprinkling of Doctor Who whispers and winks, courtesy of Russell T Davies. You could be interested to learn. Now, first of all, I'm going to get this one out of the way first, because I feel like I've got a little bit of egg on my face. As I said earlier on, Jack, I am somewhat of an optimist when it comes to Doctor Who. And when they announced that Series 14 was just going to run to 8 episodes and the Christmas special, I thought, well, it's the first year back. We're getting 3 specials earlier than that as well. That's 12 new episodes of Doctor Who in 6-7 months. Yeah. I'll take that. And if they're good quality, then even better. And Russell T Davies said that this is just the beginning. He said this about a year ago when they confirmed it was going to be 8 episodes and told us to wait and be patient. And Doctor Who fans are very good at being patient, and I'm a pretty reasonable guy. But we have had confirmation in this Doctor Who magazine of the episode. So let's get this up on screen. So yeah, it turns out that Series 15, there's going to be, so they've written 5 of the scripts are already sorted, but Russell T Davies has dropped the bombshell that Series 15 will also be 8 standard episodes and 1 Christmas special. And over to you, Shah. What do you think of this? So that's the same pattern that we're getting with the first Shooty season. We're going to get this for the second season as well. What's your take?
Yeah, I mean, I'm with you, Dan. I agree with you completely. I'll take what I can get as long as it's a good story, and we're going to have a good old time. Then I'm fine with that. And I love that Christmas specials are coming back. I have been wanting this forever. So I'm not going to shut up about 20 seconds, but I promise that's all I'll do. So with the Christmas specials, I mean, they were a staple, like everyone else's family, I guess, to gather around. Me, that's me. Me, my parents, my grandparents, my brothers, my cousins, did I say my grandparents already? Probably. We all sat down on Boxing Day. We didn't do it on Christmas Day because we were all a bit too merry, which is usually Grandma Joyce's fault, in all fairness. And then, so Boxing Day would all be hungover but lovely and watching Doctor Who on the day after. So I'm so happy for that. And I'm just want it now. You said that Doctor Who fans are patient. I don't think we are. I think it's just that we have to wait rather than being willing to wait. But yeah,
see, my patience.
I'm well pleased with this.
I do largely echo what you've said, but my patience is actually wearing thin with this. I mean, I think that this is a bit of a disappointment and a bit of a slap in the face. I think 88 episodes isn't. I think it's just not enough. Simon?
Yeah, no, I would agree with you, Dan. Well, it's not that it isn't enough so much as, I don't know, it just feels odd in that it doesn't feel much of a commitment on the BBC's part. It doesn't instill me with confidence that they are confident in their product, which just seems odd. It's very tentative rather than confident. You know, you think back to series 1 in 2005 when that launched with 13 episodes. That was confidence. That was absolute confidence in your brand and what you were about to deliver. To the extent of almost arrogance, and I don't mean that in a negative way at all. I mean that in just absolute swaggering confidence. Whereas 8 episodes of a series that is celebrating its 60th year just feels, I don't know, just a little bit nervous on the BBC's part. I don't know, just a bit odd, that is.
I have
just to counter that, and if you don't mind, and I mean this in like a genuine way, because I appreciate that the episodes in Classic were like, 20-25 minutes long, roughly. But there were so many. I mean, we're talking about 20-25 episodes per story. But then it went down to 13, then it went down to 10. So for me, it's not that much of a jump. I just want quality at the end of the day. I would agree with you. Yeah, I'm not that. And like Deblin says, sorry, they're 60 minutes, and I can be okay with that as well, because there's no chance I'm going to zone out. It's not one of those. If we can have a longer longer episode with better quality, I would take that over 13 episodes, if that makes sense. I just want to enjoy it. It makes perfect sense.
And I felt the same way about the Capaldi episodes when they upped the runtime. If you remember, Charlotte, they upped the runtime of every episode by 5 minutes, didn't they? They went, so there was 13 in Matt's seasons. They dropped it down to 12 for the Capaldi ones, but they upped them by 5 minutes each. And I think that, again, trying to play devil's advocate, although I'm disappointed on the surface, I look across at other shows that are on Disney Plus, stuff like Loki and the Star Wars shows. They're usually between 8 and 10 episodes. And some of those, to be fair, we don't know really how long these Doctor Who's are going to be. Some of them could be 45 minutes. There's a couple of them could be 60 minutes. That also, I think that actually, no, I'm thinking it through. I think the BBC are going to press for a standard length, come to think of it. But it does seem that broadcast TV is changing, and that it isn't, I think there probably is a grey area. I just feel a bit mardy about it, because I believed
oh, I haven't had that word in so long.
Mardy for the win.
No, I get what you mean. Obviously, with, like Simon said, that 13 episode run we had with New Who originally, it felt such a lovely, when Doctor was coming, you knew you'd get a good meaty chunk of episodes, and also, if you didn't like one or two, there was plenty of others that if you loved them, you could just forget the couple you didn't like. So that was also the benefit of having that bigger chunk of episodes. And I'm sort of with Shah on this. For me, it really does depend on what story they're trying to tell. If the story naturally suits 8 episodes, then you go with your 8 episodes. You don't stretch it out. You don't shortchange it. If that's what Russell is thinking, this is my story beat, this is what I want to hit, and I don't want to, like I said, over sort of exert what I've got on screen, it could work perfectly. And I can't help but think as well, some of factor into this, and a few have said this in our chat, we're not just getting a main series anymore under Russell. We are getting other shows. He has talked, and we know we're going to get spin-offs. So I can't help but think he's thinking, if I have good quality but lean in the best way main series, and then I have 1 or 2 series also running at other bits of the year, then that's going to feel like plenty, and it's not going to feel like I'm overdoing it.
I mean, yeah, I mean, being reasonable, I suppose we've had so little over the last, not just the last couple of years, but over the last 3 or 4 years, that even 8, 9 episodes might seem like a deluge of content. Peter Harrington asks, is there a Christmas special for 2023? Yes, there is. There's one on, it looks like it's going to be Christmas Day as well. So Christmas specials are, just as Shah was saying, it seems they're back with a vengeance. The Rabbi is in the live chat. Hello, mate. And he speculates, obviously, the Rabbi, hope you're well, says that season 15 was always 8+1 special. It was announced when they announced season 14 was 8+1. I didn't think they had. But if you say perhaps it was, I didn't think they'd confirm that. But if that's a thing, then it's a thing. And maybe I got ahead of myself. I don't know. Somebody who's always getting ahead of himself is our friend. And I think you have to be ahead of yourself, really, when you're mega, don't you? And I think it's the ideal
Very good
point
segue there.
I think it's the ideal point to bring in here David Deers, the mega geek. Better late than never, buddy.
Sorry, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hey.
I hear you loud and clear.
I
pal.
couldn't hear you guys for some reason. My computer just
Blessing.
didn't wanna work. Yeah, I know. Blessing, wasn't it?
Well, you're here at last, mate. You're here at last.
did.
So we've just gone through a few bits of news here, but I've just been saying about how I think that 8 episodes of New Doctor Who isn't quite enough. Lots of us here have got sort of different takes on it, but what do you think?
Well, we talked about this before, and I've said that it's not only 8 episodes. If you include the David Tennant ones connected to the duty ones, it does equal a full season. So
we're talking about year 2 now. This is next. This isn't this block. This is for the next lot. In between. Yes, so they've announced it'll be the same pattern for between 2024 and 2025.
And what, just 8 episodes?
That's right.
Episodes? Oh, that's crap, isn't it? Could it not be more? Do you know what I mean? I mean,
I don't know. Somebody said in the chat maybe it'll be a blessing in disguise.
Yeah, exactly. But if
it's ghastly, we only have 8 episodes to watch as Richard Brooks, and he's got a point.
Hold on.
Oh, let's not think like that. It'll be all good.
Yeah.
It'll be all good.
So I'm trying not to be unreasonable about it. Yeah, it's fine
to have that opinion, obviously. Yeah, it's I think it's more just for me. I didn't actually read it properly. Sorry. So I was with Ian. I thought that it was with that, but at the same time, I'm being a right bugger today. So what I'm going to say is at the same time we did have 4 episodes of specials with just Tennant, which I always thought was very odd. Like, why did he get to just have 4? And we seem to be content with that. And I don't know if that's because we knew that we had something coming pretty much straight away afterwards. It might be the same with Doctor Who. I mean, I don't know about the spin-offs, because for me, I want to focus on the main show alone as of right now, after what we've dealt with for the past 5 and 6 years. So spin-offs, I'm going to take a back seat on that one. But if we get more, as in like, if we have more things from the Doctor Who universe with these 8 episodes, I'm sound with that. For now, I'm just going to be repeating myself for carry on, but I just want good stuff. Just give me a good story that I'll want to rewatch over and over again.
Well, this is it. I think people just largely want a consistent stream of quality content, Jack. We've got a comment here from Electric Bull who says, if we are able to get 9 episodes every year, I will be happy. If they can guarantee that, that's something. It's something we can rely on, isn't it? And Doctor Who needs consistency.
Yeah, it does. And like you could tell over the past couple of years, like viewership took a dive because it was airing all over the place. And like last year, you had 3 specials scattered over the year. You only got the air dates like last minute as well. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to that consistency. And hey, if that means I'm only getting 9 episodes a year, I'd gladly take that over any gap year, to be honest. Like I just want to see Doctor Who back on TV again, you know? And yeah, you know, just to see people happy about the show again. And whilst, yes, from the outset, yeah, it does look a bit, the BBC might not have confidence in it. And that might be true to some capacity. You never know. But over time, and I think Russell did say in the original statement that they're starting off by doing that. So you never know. We could go back up to 10 episodes or 11 or something. I don't know. But who knows what the future holds.
This isn't set in stone, is what So, but maybe, and we sort of have all said this as well, and I think I can't help but think Russell and the BBC, they have to rebuild. And so you have to rebuild and get that solid fan base and viewer base back until then you can proper start running for the hills. So maybe that's also what this is. They're not confident. They're actually facing a reality of what the show is like at current day.
Yeah, but they managed to do it before. I think that's what you're getting at, Simon, isn't it? They came back with we're back and we're doing it, and Doctor Who has returned. And with this one, you know, we can say, oh yeah, it's a reset, it's a reboot, but you can still have that same amount of confidence if you believe in your product enough. And that's something that I think we've actually, all 6 of us have all gone over at some point, is actually, do these guys believe in their product? And it's only just now that I'm actually starting to believe, yes, they do. So with this, Simon, I do get what you're saying. I don't actually disagree with you 100%. I do think there is an element of how is this going to go? I think they're really nervous. I think the BBC are shaking in their boots, but they shouldn't be, because we are here.
Yeah, maybe. I mean, the other thing that sort of occurs to me is just, as I said, it just feels a little bit tentative on their part. And it just feels a little bit like, I don't know, feels a bit like we're sort of just kind of marking time. It just feels a little bit de rigueur now. It's just kind of trundling along. This is why, if it had been me, and I know I'm probably alone in this, I would have rested the show for 2 or 3 years and come back with an absolute bang with 13 episodes again, or whatever, just much more of a bang. It just all feels a bit like it's kind of on this treadmill now, and it's it's a bit
workmanlike,
taking it for granted. And do you know what I mean? I feel it needs to just come back with an absolute blast, and in a way it can't do that unless it takes a break.
I've got this comment up on screen now from Gambit Shah, and I think this is the comment of the night so far. It says, if it's not on for at least 53 weeks of the year, then I'm out.
And of course, back in the Harlem days, it was certainly on for about 48 weeks of the year, certainly.
Yeah.
Love it, absolutely love it. Go on. Yeah.
Sorry, just really, really quickly. Do you think it might be a generational thing? And I'm not saying that to age or date anyone, but for people like myself, Charlotte and Jack, we didn't live through the wilderness years, so we don't know actually what it's like to have it where it comes off, it's been taken off and then comes back again. We've always had it in our lives. Yeah, so maybe it's that us 3 particularly are more like, yeah, we're cool with this and it's fine. Maybe, but yeah, because for you to say...
Sorry, Charlotte, I was going to say, interesting, what you're saying there, it is actually reminiscent of back in the day as well. We, as you rightly said, there was a time when we were used to sort of 20, 22 episodes a year, and then suddenly it dropped down to what was it, 12 for 14, wasn't it, for the Trial of a Time Lord, and it never recovered from that. That always felt like, oh, you know, people kind of it was. And I'm not wanting to sort of sound doom-mongerish here, but it was like the writing was on the wall. Once they knocked it back to 14 episodes, it never, ever recovered.
What's the term? Death by 1,000 cuts. It's one of those. That's exactly
it, Dan. It did feel like it was a protracted, drawn-out death, because, to say, once they knocked it to 14, it literally never recovered, and it was the beginning and the end. And it was like, it almost signals a lack of confidence on the BBC's part. And that was it. It was the end for it eventually after 3 or 4 years. So I don't know. It just worries me a bit.
Well, although we haven't got those broadcast dates yet, it turns out that Russell T Davies confides in Doctor Who magazine that he'd started to wonder whether he was doing enough for the 60th anniversary as well, Charlotte. It's a question that he was asking of himself, and the people were a bit bloody late by the time he got
what you want to hear.
Russell, we've been saying that for how long?
This is by the summer of the year, and so we've been promised, and we haven't really got any information about this, but in Doctor Who magazine he talks about a secret project. So he had an idea in July 2023, a further idea for something to celebrate the anniversary. 3 writers were contracted to work on this, and whatever it is was shot over a 6-day period in September just gone. So there is something else coming, but we've no idea what it is. I mean, this is difficult. It's impossible to speculate about this, but I suppose it does sort of marry up with what Charlotte, what you've said, and Simon, points that you've made, and that were they a little bit asleep at the wheel, or were their heads so far into the engine of the thing that actually got up and running, they'd never really stopped to take a look back and think about how the viewers may have perceived 18 months, 2 years of practically nothing.
Yeah, this just obviously we're completely taking this off Russell's words, so we haven't got anything to verify it, but it does seem to be a sort of, yes, somebody had a wake-up call that this show had just been left. Probably not, it was probably somebody, not Russell, to be fair, it's probably somebody else, but enough that we're getting something. But
do you know what would be lovely though, Charlotte? If what we were actually getting, I think, is some classic Doctors back. Wouldn't it be lovely to have, let's say, I don't know, maybe there are 3 episodes, 3 mini episodes or something like that they've shot. If they've got 3 writers and you do one dedicated to each Doctor, I'd just love in the anniversary year just something classic.
What's feasible, Simon? What's feasible, do you think, to have been shot over a 6-day period? Is that a long time? Is it enough to get half an hour?
No, Gideon, it's not. I mean, even when you think of something like the 5-ish Doctors, which we think of as a fairly basic production, took a long time to shoot. No, on a 6-day shoot, you're not talking on. And as I said, it's the fact that it's 3 writers suggests to me 3 things, 2 days each, a 2-day shoot on each. That's just next to nothing. That's a couple of basic sets, maybe a 6, 7, 8 minute piece. That's as much as you'd really get.
I'm just thinking
another Minnesota.
That sort of vibe, but I'm thinking, have they seen what the likes of Pete McTeague has been doing with the Blu-ray mini films?
Mm-hmm.
Because they'll
have shot all those. Those will all have been shot pretty much in one day.
Yeah, so I can't help but think maybe they looked at that and said, actually, we've got a format here which is short, which is snappy, and let's take that. So maybe we could get sort of dedicated to maybe one ex-companion or an ex-doctor, like you're saying, Simon, and scatter them a bit. So I think that could be, and to be fair, if it's good characters they picked, possibly, I think that could be a lovely little thing for the 60th.
I mean, I agree. I mean, Michael's comment up there, it's about a minute per day. Yes, it is about a minute per day if you're filming full drama, as Ian will well know as well. But what I'm talking
about... What are we talking about?
If you're doing something like, as Charlotte says, the kind of the Blu-ray trailers that are all shot on maybe 1 or 2 locations with 1 or 2 characters, then you can blast out a lot more than 1 minute a day. 1 minute a day is on a high-end drama. It's as simple as that.
So obviously we will hear whatever it is. We'll hear some of it eventually. I suppose we have got these actual dates set in. We don't actually know what's going to be on them. Well, I think we sort of worked it out. But we do have. This is the shape of Whovember so far, Shah. Are you liking Whovember? Where do you stand on Whovember?
Whovember. I mean, Simon's face says it all. In all fairness,
it's horrible.
I'm not, but then again, it's one of those things, isn't it? Like, some people hate being called a Whovian. I love being called a Whovian. Much better than whore. Oh, sorry, I'm not. You know, I'm trying to say Hoover.
That's usually the kind of thing that I would say, Shah. You've been knocking about me too long.
I have. Let's move on. I've been here too long, right? This is my retirement from Type 40, guys. I'm going to kiss. I'm too far gone. I was meant to say Hoover. I'm getting really hot now.
Okay, well, I'll help you out. I'll put this up on screen. This is Whovember so far. These are 3 dates of significance that Russell T Davies has floated out there. So, we know what a couple of them are already. So, the 1st of November, he's told us, is a date of interest. The 17th of November is also a date of interest. And so is the 23rd of November. But there is that caveat that no specials are going to air on the 23rd itself, which is a Thursday. Maybe he means Type 40 Live on Thursday, 23rd of November.
I think so.
He doesn't want to clash with us. Yeah,
I think that's what Russell's hinting at there, Ian. You're absolutely right. But I think we can safely say now that we found out this about the iPLAYER Jack, that must be the 1st of November thing, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well,
that's funny.
I've got a few little theories about these dates.
Yes,
because, you know, I'll get my hang on, there I've got it. My old thinking cap on. There we go.
Never work with props, buddy. Never work with props. Yes.
So, 1st of November, we've got the iPLAYER thing. You know, that's going to release.
We do.
It's going to be epic. But hear me out.
Yes.
We might get a missing episode if we're very lucky, but probably not. Or we might get an animation on that day as well to tie into it. And it will drop on that day on iPLAYER before the physical media thing later on. And then 17th of November. Oh, sorry, I'm gonna.
No, you carry on, Jack. Go on.
Sure. Okay, so 17th of November is Children in Need. And we've been talking about the sketch, 3 writers, blah, blah, blah. But my little idea is that whilst we won't get multi-doctors in the actual 60th specials, bar, you know, maybe a meeting between the 14th and 15th doctors, I think we're going to be getting a multi-doctor sketch for Children in Need. With who doctors? I don't know. But, you know, one of the ideas I had, and again, this might annoy some people, but imagine a younger David Tennant through some tech to represent the 10th Doctor meeting the 14th Doctor. I mean, that would be some mad Tennant vanity.
I have wondered about the specials, whether Tennant will play both the 14th and the 10th Doctor. I have, yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be cool. And then obviously the 23rd is Doctor Who Day. No special on that date. But I think, yeah, we're probably going to get some exciting announcements. Maybe confirmation on that longly rumoured unit spin-off, which I think would be very exciting, for sure.
Well, all I was going to throw into that was, and somebody has mentioned it in the chat earlier on, there is still these rumours circulating that we might get a colour version of An Unearthly Child.
Ah, yes. Oh, that'd be
maybe on the 23rd. Maybe on the 23rd.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
And I'm not sure about that. I've got mixed feelings. I've got mixed feelings about that. I don't know what to think about it. Yeah, not certain on that.
But I think, Jack, that's such a good idea to like extra promote the iPLAYER thing. It's like they can say, look, you've got all this new, so we've got all this stuff, you know, and then have a big headline. Look, first ever animated version of this, or a coloured maybe, like Simon was thinking, a colorized thing to be like the big headline grabber to go with the catalogue.
Of course. And I've got all fingers, legs, toes, everything crossed, because if they do announce a missing episode or something, please let it be the Celestial Toymaker or an animated reconstruction. Please. I am begging, please. And it will tie in nice with the 60th as well. You know, get to catch up with the boy before he makes his grand return.
the boy.
With a lad.
Yeah. More on the boy later on. So yeah, Russell T Davies, that's the general shape of what he's teasing in that new edition of Doctor Who magazine. And you know, I'm happy that he's happy. It does seem to be the case that he's getting a lot of the things off his wish list. This is the wish list that he came back to the BBC with when the deal started to close. So he wanted to make Doctor Who again. He's definitely doing that. To make Doctor Who annually. It seems like he's going to be doing that. New, massive behind-the-scenes coverage. That would be our Doctor Who Unleashed. We know about that. 2 secrets. Heaven knows what that is. I suppose we'll find out in due course. And it could be Hugh. One could be very Hugh Grant shape. And to have the Doctor Who back catalogue available for anyone and everyone to see, which he's just clinched there with that iPLAYER news. So things do seem to be going according to plan. But is that just what they want us to think, Simon? I don't know.
Who can say? Who can say? It's all in the lap of the gods, isn't it?
It is. It is
again.
Mm-hmm.
Behind the scenes.
Yes. Behind the scenes.
Stupid me. Thank you. Yeah, cool. So.
Why has Russell put that wish list together? Why did he come back in the first place? Well, I think it can only be for the love of Doctor Who, for the love of Who, and a few quid, obviously, for the love of Who, and that's exactly what brought together here to talk about it all in the first place, and everybody there in the live chat who's sifting through it all agonizingly with us here too. I hope you're enjoying the show so far. Lots more to get stuck into. Don't forget to hit us up on our home feed, type40.podbean.com, for all the recent podcasts. There's another one coming at the weekend too, which ties into some of the speculation that we've been talking about in the last few minutes. I can't give it away. I know some of this. I can't give it away. It's infuriating when you know things and you can't talk about them. But yeah, we are going to get something else. And you can get, I think, a bit of a hint on that if you stay tuned for further editions of Type 40 at Doctor Who podcast. And we'll get back to you on Type 40 Live when we've got stuff we can get stuck into and can talk about. My God, the time is absolutely flying by. Let's hit back the live chat. What else is being said? Oh, lots and lots of people. Yeah, people are getting stuck into all the news. Great to see. Keep the comments coming as always. Yes. So I often think, Simon, that excitement and the new is all well and good. But it's often, I think it's often wise to temper all of that with a little bit of the cozy and the comforting. And that can often be found most easily when you flip through the pages of a time-worn favourite book, isn't it? You know, you may have it on your bedside table, for example, like an old friend you sort of pick away at over the years. Or maybe
I'm really not sure where to go with that one.
Either way, Simon Horton is always ready, willing, and able to offer up these little morsels for us in these easily digestible ways. And I'm happy to say that the Doctor Who Diary is positively crackling with them this time.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go.
Char's disappeared.
Char's gone.
I'm still here. I'm ordering a Subway, so just bear with me 3 seconds.
Well, ordering a Subway is more interesting than the diary. I am offended.
No, I'm still listening.
As always with the diary. So yeah, what we're doing, folks, if you've never seen the slot before, we're looking back on years gone by on this particular week in the sort of second week of October. And as always, we sort of a quick rundown of the episodes we're definitely not going to be talking about. We go from the sublime, things like The Mind Robber episode 5 was screening in 1968 this week. I was 6 months old when this was going out. I can't remember a thing about it. You'll be surprised to learn. I was 6 months old. One I can remember about that was going out in October, the 12th of this year, was The Hand of Fear episode 2 in 1976. I remember that so well because it was there was a cracking cliffhanger at the beginning and end of both episode 2. Brilliant resolve from the previous week. A fantastic cliffhanger into the following week. Hand of Fear. When they arrive on the iPLAYER, folks, go and look for the Hand of Fear. You'll love it. So that was on in 1976, all those years ago. Ghostlight episode 2 was also on. That's very, very sublime. Made no sense whatsoever, but they did it beautifully, and it's perfect for October. So why not go and have a look at Ghostlight episode 2? We go from the sublime to the frankly ridiculous. Paradise Towers was screening in 1987. Oh, even worse, Meglos episode 3 was trundling through in 1980. But we actually go from the sublime to the ridiculous to the utterly, utterly boring, because what we're talking about this week is deep breath, everybody, Before the Flood, which was screening 8 years ago this very week.
8 years.
Yeah, 8 years ago. Can you believe it's 8 years already since this? 2015 this was. I'm maybe being a little bit mean, but I'm sorry. I did find this just utterly boring. It was one of those stories for me that promised so much. I mean, look at that creature design.
Fabulous.
It's utterly divine. It's one of the best creature designs ever, and yet it just doesn't work for me. Quick fact, actually, you might be interested to know that's the Fisher King. For anybody that hasn't seen the episode, that is the Fisher King there on the right, and the Fisher King's roar
And the Doctor's hologram ghost were those voices were provided by Corey Taylor, the lead singer of Slipknot. Who knew that the Fisher King's Roar?
That's one of those things that I knew at the time and have forgotten since. I can't imagine why.
There you go. Anyway, so Before the Flood, of course, it was the second part of the Under the Lake Before the Flood two-parter, written by Toby Whithouse, who is obviously clearly quite prolific. Yeah, absolutely. As I said, it didn't quite work for me, but there's a few interesting firsts in this particular episode. It's the first time ever that for a prolonged period, the fourth wall is broken as the Doctor talks directly to the audience at home in the pre-credits sequence. The Doctor had just about obliquely addressed the audience in the past. Literally a couple of times, but this is the first time it's done on a prolonged, definite, specific period for a deliberate reason to address the audience. And interestingly, I think it's in the pre-credit sequence as well that you see the little clockwork squirrel that sits on the Doctor's speaker, if you can remember that.
Oh
yeah. And Jenna Coleman allegedly owns that now. Apparently she owns this little clockwork squirrel. But interestingly, and I didn't know this until recently. Did you realise did you notice there is a guitar line, an electric guitar line, running over the top of the theme tune? The main theme is picked out in electric guitar. Do you know who is playing that electric guitar?
I would imagine it'd be his initials would be PC, but
indeed it would. It is Peter Capaldi. He plays on the electric guitar. He plays the theme tune, and it's the only episode ever that appears in. And because it segues very nicely. They have he's playing Beethoven's Fifth. As it goes into the title sequence, so it just segues very nicely in. And yeah, sure enough, Peter Capaldi, bless him, plays the.
I've got it into my head, Simon, that I was the only person who found this story boring because we mentioned it a few weeks ago, and lots of faces seemed to light up. And I had thought to myself, perhaps I should give it a second go, or give it a revisit, I should say.
Yeah, I mean, what's anybody else's thoughts? I couldn't bring myself to give it a second go. I found it so dull. I don't know why.
Boring as anything.
Okay.
Sorry.
See, with me, I agree with you with the villain. Really good villain idea, really clever, beautiful design. Should have been more in the actual story.
Yeah.
But I quite liked the twist of what the holograms actually was, and the sort of how they weren't ghosts. And I like this sort of just how sort of it felt really dour. And I felt like it did the tone quite well. So those bits I like about this, but I do agree with the villain. I think he needs like another rework, like another going over the script. And then it probably would have been a lot stronger. But I definitely like bits of this a lot.
I'm revisiting it actually, Peter Capaldi, because I think it was when he first started, I saw the first 3 episodes and I thought, I don't like this Doctor, and I kind of checked out.
Yeah.
But recently I've been revisiting them, and I only watch it because of Peter Capaldi. He's a really good actor, and he's got dire scripts. He's got really terrible scripts and stuff, but he makes it come to life because he's a good actor. So I don't think I've seen this episode, but I will eventually see it. Once
you're not. Well, I say, for me personally, you're not missing a lot. It's one of those things. It just promised a lot, and that was my feeling with a lot of the Capaldi stuff. It promised a lot, and it just did. That somehow they're just some of those episodes, and this one to me epitomizes it. They're just lacking sort of vigor of life somehow. They feel like they're very just trundling along. I don't know. I can't.
I felt that way about series 9. I didn't find it with series 8 and 10, but
the Moff outstayed his welcome, didn't he? I mean, that's what I think, and he was running out of ideas when it came to it. But it's just my opinion. But I did not like the way they he portrayed the Doctor in the first 3 episodes. Then I checked out and I thought, I can't be watching this, and I checked out. But I did that with Sylvester McCoy as well, and I did that with Colin Baker as well. But I always come back to the Doctor, apart from when she who would not be mentioned happened, and I didn't go back at all. So there you go.
That episode, that episode looks beautiful. The way it's shot is gorgeous. The design, the sets, the props. Yeah, it's gorgeous. I remember it was the first episode of Doctor Who that I watched where I just zoned out completely, and I remember being really sad about it as well.
And it's interesting, Shah, because literally I can't remember a thing about it. Truth be told, I can remember the tiniest bits about it. I don't know what it's wrong with it. It just seems it's just a bit meh. It's there.
Oh,
Look at that.
At least it was a great monster, Simon.
Yes.
I suppose we can say that.
Well designed thing.
Yeah, brilliant.
Cheers up next.
Yeah. So what we got next is a couple of happy birthdays to two wonderful ladies who are absolutely, they are ambassadors for the show because it's very, very happy birthday this week to Katie Manning. Who is 27 on Saturday. There we go. Happy birthday, Katie Manning. Yes, I say 77 she will be on Saturday. God bless her. My goodness, I fell in love with her when I was only 5 years old. There's just something about that character and the characterization. I'm sure, Ian, as a Pertwee fan, you must love the character.
I actually felt sad when she left.
And
I think obviously John Pertwee, the actual Doc, when he played the Doctor, when he was saying goodbye, he looked really sad as well.
Oh,
I reckon it was because the actor in real life was sad. That's why.
I'm not in any doubt at all. And of course, that's why he, bless him, John Pertwee. One of the reasons why he did only last another year in the role, because he was so, in love with Katie Manning as a person that his Doctor Who sort of his love of Doctor Who was dwindling at that point. Little bit of background: she's born Catherine Ann Manning, to give her a full name. Born in Guildford, trained at the Webber Douglas Theatre School, and of course she played famously Katie Jo Grant in total of 15 stories between 71 and 73. But of course she's come back since. She was in the Dimensions in Time. Do we even dare mention Dimensions in Time? She was in that. She was of course in the Death of the Doctor, the Sarah Jane Adventures episode.
That was a good episode. I never watched the show, but I did watch that one when I heard Katie and Matt
fantastic.
Was in it. And that wonderful scene where she's saying to him, "You abandoned me," and he explained he didn't abandon her; he was watching her from distance. That was a fantastic, well written, well performed scene in a kids show. Amazing.
It was just brilliant. To answer Peter Harrington's question in the chat, there isn't she Australian? No, she's not. She was born in St. Guildford. She just lived in Australia for a very long time. She moved to Australia in the early 80s. So she's just very Antipodean. But no, she's through and through. And of course, she went on. After Doctor Who, she went on to do all manner of stuff. The main thing she did for a short while was Serendipity, which was an arts and crafts program. I have a feeling I'm right in saying there's an episode of it, or at least clips of it, on, I think it's on the Green Death disc in the Blu-ray box set.
So was she kind of ITV's answer to Tony Hart, just a bit sexier? Well, quite a lot sexier.
You possibly. I think it's difficult to tell on that one. I'm not going to be drawn on that one. But she did do it for a very long time, Serendipity, and there were quite a few episodes of it where she learned how to make statues of angels out of polystyrene and do papier-mâché and knit purple skirts and stuff like that. But yes, to say she's and let's not forget, of course, she was in a relationship with Stuart Bevan at the time that he came. What you were just saying about Ian, when she left the show with Professor Jones, played by Stuart Evans, who was her boyfriend at the time. But she's interesting. She's one of those people. She's never sort of settled down with a partner, and she's had a number of partners, but she's never settled down with one.
Well, she's married to the that guy, the Australian guy who sung the Neighbours theme tune, isn't she? Barry Crocker.
Yes,
she's been married for quite a long time.
Yeah. but it's taken her a while to get to that point. Up until that point, she by her own sort of definition, she sort of drifted in and out. She was, of different relationships. It took her a while to settle down, and I think that it's just typical Katie. She has that kind of relationship now that he's just typically Katie. She's one of a kind. There is no two ways about it.
What a relationship with Doctor Who that she's had as well. I mean, I describe her as the fairy godmother of Doctor Who. I see no reason to revise that opinion.
Absolutely, and there she is. She's just so beautiful, and she's just such a lovely person. And yeah, she's just been such a good ambassador for the show. Was that out of interest? Was that shot just purely taken? Did she just drop in on set there? Do you know?
She went to the set of Series 9 on. I think Peter Capaldi actively petitioned to get old companions there because there are similar photographs of him with Fraser Hines. He also had Carol Ann Ford on set, but there are no pictures of that. And he had a meeting too. I think Janet Fielding was there as well with the photographs. I don't think that was on the TARDIS set. So yeah, this was something Peter wanted to do. I think he grew up adoring Katie, as a lot of people did, Jack, and he wanted to reenact this actual moment. It's just magical.
Yeah, it's lovely.
What a fan he is.
It's a shame, really, that she didn't appear in an episode, and also Fraser as well, who's been a brilliant ambassador for Doctor Who for a very long time, and he hasn't really been celebrated as that kind of a person. It's really weird but it's a shame that they didn't appear with either of the new Doctors, actually.
With Peter,
They look great.
Yeah, they do look good together. She looks very good with Capaldi's Doctor, it has to be said. She does look good.
just looks right, doesn't it, Sean? It just looks right.
Yeah, it does. To answer Black Glove Studios' question in the chat, were they in a relationship at the time of Stuart Bevan's death? No, not as far as I know. Definitely not. But they stayed the best of friends, Stuart and Katie, even though they split up way back. I don't think that long after the Green Death, to be honest. But they stayed the best of friends, right to the end.
He's gorgeous.
The best of companions, by all accounts. So as I say, happy 77th birthday to dear Katie Manning.
Happy birthday.
Absolutely, and our second Who girl this week is Nicola Bryant, who was she was 63 yesterday.
63. Wow.
Yes. Can you believe it?
I need to know what those jeans are.
She's gorgeous.
She is fabulous.
She
is utterly beautiful. Dear old Nicola Bryant, born in Surrey. Interestingly, she also went to Webber Douglas Theatre School, just like Katie Manning. A few years later, she started training in dancing, though, believe it or not, from the age of 3. She started training in dance and music from the age of 3. Here's a curio. Her agent at the time that she was cast as Perry was none other than Terry Carney, who is William Hartnell's son-in-law.
Really?
And he was the one that.
Oh my God.
I'm not sure whether he was the one that put her up for the audition, or she chose to go for the audition herself, or they requested her. But certainly, William Hartnell's son-in-law was her agent at the time, and of course, she then went on to do 11 stories between 1984 and 1986. And of course, famously, she claimed to be American when she went for the audition because she knew that they were after an American. So she claimed to be American, and she convinced JNT. And bless her, she kept her accent between takes, apparently, all the way through. And in interviews, she always maintained her American accent in interviews. But as I understand, she maintained it between takes as well, just so she stayed in character. But also, I think, as I recall, I remember reading an interview with her where for a while she was literally having to sort of play the part as though she was an American to continue the myth.
Is it true that she revealed that she was an American at a dinner party with the heads of
could well be. I can't remember.
I think I read that somewhere, or somebody told me that she'd kept it up for a very long time.
She did keep it up for a very long time.
Yeah, even when they were like at lunch and everything. So they had some dinner party, and the guy that was show running at the time was there, and everybody, and then she just talked in a normal
She kind of
voice.
finally came out and
said that she wasn't American. I don't know.
Imagine a lie getting that out of hand, like just going that far,
but
and then
that's
just
not
being
unusual.
just
Do you remember Ronnie Barker used to be the two Ronnies? He used to write under the pseudonym Ben, right, in his own show, because he didn't want people to know that he was writing the sketches for it. And at a party, a huge party that BBC threw, he stood up and said he was the person that wrote this thing. So it's not unusual that people do that. And she was just
it isn't, but it would have for Nicola Bryant, it would have been really, really tough to maintain that American accent for such a long time, and to maintain the myth that you were from America. That you know, when you get asked questions, where are you from, and you've got to basically come out with a load of rubbish. So as it's just been said on screen there, that you've got to salute her for her dedication to it. And of course, when she left Doctor Who, she went on to do Blackadder. Famously, she was in Blackadder's Christmas Carol. She did Doctors, Holby City Casualty. She's been in a number of commercials. She's done a lot of stage work.
Let's not forget the Purcell advert. Yeah, so
absolutely.
Yeah, that's the last time I saw her.
she's done a lot of adverts, certainly. Intriguingly, one thing I came across while I was doing a bit of research into it, that apparently, I'm not sure whether this is still true, but certainly there was an interview in June 2012 where the Doctor Who writer Nev Fountain said that he was in a relationship with Nicola Bryant, and I'm honestly not certain. If anybody out there in the chat knows, please tell me, because I'm intrigued. I can't find out whether she is still in a relationship with a Doctor Who writer, Nev Fountain. Nev Fountain did loads and loads of Big Finish work, lots and lots of
yes, they're still together, Simon. Still happily. I think they've got a couple of dogs as well. Yeah.
We go then. I'm glad you at least know that. As I say, that was news to me. But the one thing I always think that Nicola Bryant was very hard done by with the character of Perry. Look, who's
that handsome man?
There I am with the two birthday girls. Look at that. Those are both taken in Wolverhampton exactly 10 years ago in 2013. And they were both on stage. I think literally within a couple of weeks of each other, as I recall, there was a series of plays at the Wolverhampton Grand Murder Mysteries, and so Katie was in one week and Nicola was in another the following couple of weeks. And Nicola Bryant in particular was such a funny story, because we waited outside the stage door. The Katie Manning one is taken outside the stage door. We waited and waited, and eventually she came out. She was lovely, mad as a box of frogs, but just absolutely adorable. Nicola, we waited and waited and waited for, and she never came out. And we must have waited about an hour, and finally we gave up. And then I was waiting with my friend Dan, not this Dan up there, different Dan, and just as I was driving out of Wolverhampton, I got a text message from Dan saying, I've just bumped into Nicola Bryant. She'd gone out the front door instead of the stage door. I've just met her. She's waiting to see you. Well, then, this was about 11 o'clock at night. I had this mad drive around Wolverhampton trying to find Nicola Bryant. And literally, it was a bit like something out of Starsky and Hutch. I literally did kind of a handbrake turn in front of her, cut her off, stopped on double yellow lines, just leaped out. And she was such a good sport. She was so sweet. And so I got my photo taken with her, bless her.
Simon.
It's nice when things like that happen. And also it's nice when you meet people and they are just as beautiful and lovely as you hope they are going to be. And
Simon,
both of these were. Yeah.
These pictures.
Yeah.
They were real pictures that you took on one of those cameras, and you had to wait a whole week for it to be developed and stuff?
No, they were on the phone, you cheeky devil. It was only 10 years ago.
People are loving the pictures in the live chat on YouTube, Rumble and Facebook, Simon. Lots of comments of appreciation for those pictures. What a fabulous way to wrap up the Doctor Who Diary this time.
Happy birthday to both. Happy birthday to both of those ladies. We salute you both, absolute ambassadors for Doctor Who. Happy birthday.
And Bunch of Wallace does ask you, though, Simon, have you got a restraining order the next week?
Yeah, I did hear some sirens going behind me as I was waving goodbye to Nick McBride.
Absolutely fabulous stuff. Happy birthday, to both the birthday girls. And congratulations and gratitude to you, Simon, for yet another cracking Doctor Who diary.
You're very welcome. All good.
Total gold. If people like that and they enjoyed it like we did, what have they got to do?
All you got to do is like and subscribe and make a comment on YouTube if you really feel
Subscribe.
You heard the man. Get liking. There's all these people watching. Lots of people watching tonight. More likes, please. We need to get that up. Get the activity, engagement up to 75%. I think is the healthy score, isn't it, Jack? Around 75% is ideal. In fact, I good mind we'll cut it off now until we get the extra likes.
Yeah, we're all going to go.
Yeah, thank you as always for that one, Simon. More Doctor Who diary next time. I hope, God willing. That's the call of the flute. That's the call of the flute. The musical favourite from Doctor Who past. But I feel the call of nature, Ian. I feel I need to hear the tinkling of water on porcelain. And if you're in a similar place to me out there, you will be delighted to learn that it's time, somewhat later in the show than usual, for the Type 40 live Doctor Who ad break, full of golden faces and golden voices of golden people from Doctor Who past. Check them all out here for the next couple of minutes. We'll be back with more Type 40 live after the adverts. We'll see you then. Where are you? There you are.
Families are supposed to be alike. Not mine. George is always joking. Where'd she get that red hair?
Come on, we'll make a kick off if
We don't agree on anything. Good job there's two sorts of Rosine. George is dedicated to medicated. And Miss, who has to wash her hair every day, likes the fresh smell of Rosine herbal. So we have one thing in common, hair that's really clean, thanks to medicated Rosine.
Doctor Who, build the Cyberman conversion chamber and construct your Cyberman army. Restrain the space captain.
Upgrading is compulsory. Start the conversion. Upgrading is complete.
Join the Dalek Empire. Build the Dalek factory and create a new race of the supreme beings. Use the machine arms to reject the inferior Daleks. Rotate the conveyor belt to assemble your new Dalek army. Cyberman conversion chamber and Dalek factory from character.
Mrs. Turner, identify these pictures.
thick and meaty in a rich sauce, brains faggots. Or they're double faggot burgers. Rice with pineapple cubes, sweet and sour faggots.
Hi. What other good food costs so little and lets you do so much? And here's your prize.
Use your brains. Save money.
Dad, how many arches has the fourth bridge got?
I don't know. You'll have to look it up. Hey, Liz, what's our postcode?
You'll have to look it up, love, in the Thompson local directory.
Please use your postcode. Then the letters you get back will be properly addressed.
Make a note of it, Dad.
Hello.
Yes, welcome back to Type 40 Live, your live stream Doctor Who magazine show, clocking all the fixed and not so fixed points throughout the Whoniverse, both on and off screen. I'm still here with the panel. We're all here. Yes, we are. They've got Charlotte Shields here, Simon Horton, Ian David Diaz. He made it through eventually. Shah, who has probably just had a Deliveroo, or what was it, a Subway that was coming.
Subway.
And we've got Jack tucked away in the nerd den there as well, sharing our thoughts about Doctor Who, the past, the present, and the future. And some of it's mixed up all together because, yeah, we are on the brink of all new Doctor Who. That's coming very, very soon. And we talk about it here on Type 40 Live across Facebook, YouTube, and on Rumble. Let us know what you think of it all. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, check you're still subscribed, and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications about what's coming next and when, as we count down the weeks to all new Doctor Who, the 60th anniversary, and these two. In those 3 new specials, we still don't know when we're getting. But one thing we do know that we're getting is a villain, a bad guy. This guy, in fact, very, very strange that when Neil Patrick Harris was announced as playing the villain of the next Doctor Who event, this series that we're getting, it was done so. It was announced with this picture on Neil Patrick Harris' own social medias. At the time, I thought this was a picture from something else. It turned out it is from Doctor Who. Neil Patrick Harris is a 50-year-old singer, writer, and producer from New Mexico in America, a multi-Golden Globe nominee and an Emmy Award-winning actor. Many of us have watched him grow up, but I don't think many of us were that surprised to see him join the cast of Doctor Who after being so memorable in Russell T Davies' last show, It's a Sin. He played a great part in that. And yeah, he is the big bad. That's Buffy terminology, isn't it? That big bad, Ian. The big bad of this short series of specials. And there he is in a top hat and tails. We were convinced right from the get-go as a fandom, weren't we? Somehow, Simon, we seemed to know that he was playing the Celestial Toymaker. And yet, do you think it was something in the pictures, in the way that he's being presented, or do you think it was the whole Pinocchio vibe he'd got in that picture on his social media? The game was up right away, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was, but I must be honest now, I can't remember why it was. I seem to remember the rumours. I'm sure when we first started seeing the images of him, didn't we already know that the rumours were going around that it was him? So what I'm trying to say is, did we only kind of clock that it was him because we already knew that he was rumoured to be the Toymaker? And so was there just a leak from set or something?
I was going to say, I don't think it was a leak. From my memory, it was when we first got any of the set pictures the fans were taking. It was nothing official. It was the fans.
So was it the costume then, Charlotte? Is that what you're saying? It was the
I'm sure it was the toy shop, like little scan images of the toy shop.
You're right.
They recorded it on the streets of Bristol, if you remember, and a lot of it was done on location. And so a lot of the location was, just as you say, Charlotte, it was dressed, wasn't it?
Yeah, and there was images, there was clowns, there was certain things that fans who were very quick to spot.
That was it.
Toymaker, and then
that was it.
I think, like you said, the picture was then the added thing. Yeah, it was that image. I'm sure it was the shop. That was the big giveaway.
Yeah, you're right. That was what it was.
The Emporium. Obviously, this is the Toymaker. He is a villain from deep in the series history, who had a very distinctive silhouette, a mode of dress, and a very chilling voice. But this 21st century take on the Toymaker, he looks completely different, and yet it does seem to be more of the same that he's gonna bring into the Doctor and Donna's life. And so some of us were more up on the Toymaker than others. We thought it'd be a good idea to reach back through the past, those 57 years, and sample the Celestial Toymaker itself, that original story written by Brian Hales and produced by Innes Lloyd. But the only problem is so little of it actually exists. It is we talked about the orphaned episodes earlier on in the show, Jack.
Yeah.
But in this case, what's left of the original Celestial Toymaker story, it is available. It's been out on video. It's been out on DVD. So this is something we can watch it, can't we? It's just frustrating. We can't see it all.
Yeah, it is. And I think, I'm sure you'll be able to tell me, isn't the only one that's available is episode 4, the last part?
The last one, yeah.
That's absolutely right. Yeah. Yes. And so some of us, I don't know which of you had the time to watch it this week, but we have taken a look at that episode. It's called The Final Test. So the final episode of that story, originally broadcast on the 23rd of April, 1966. And yeah, as Jack said, it was the concluding part of this story. And here's the little blurb. It says, as the Doctor nears the end of his game against the Toymaker, Stephen and Dodo must try to take on Cyril, but he's the corpulent schoolboy who just simply, he won't play fair, will he? In a lethal game of hopscotch. How can you cheat at hopscotch, Shaw? Surely he wouldn't. He couldn't. But they must desperately do so to try and recover the TARDIS, because the TARDIS has been completely lost to the travellers in this. When it comes to Doctor Who history, Simon, this is a story that I'd heard so much about right from joining organised fandom, probably even before that, reading Doctor Who Weekly, Doctor Who Monthly, and all that. It had a mystique about it.
Yeah.
So finally seeing these episodes that do exist, it's a curious experience, isn't it? Because obviously in some instances, they're better than you could possibly imagine. In others, less so. It's always a bit of a roll of a dice, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's interesting because this episode, well, the Celestial Toymaker story for a long time in the early 80s was claimed by many older Doctor Who fans as the best Doctor Who story you will ever see. This is before they sort of jumped on. Yeah, before they jumped on sort of the Tomb of the Cybermen, they claimed, there were so many claims that the Celestial Toymaker was just the best Doctor Who story. And let's not forget that the whole reason that William Hartnell is in very little of the Celestial Toymaker and his voice is there only is because they were actually thinking at this point of recasting the part.
Yeah.
They wanted shot of William Hartnell at this point because they just felt that he was just it was proving too difficult with him not being able to remember his lines and so on and so forth. So this was, they were seriously considering, so that when he was made visible again, it was as a new actor, not William Hartnell, and they could have. I guess they would have written it out as some conceit on the Toymaker's part that he had he'd changed his appearance, changed the Doctor's appearance for him. And if that had happened, just think of the how all of Doctor Who from that point on would have been changed completely. We might not be here now talking about it because the conceit of regeneration would never have been introduced, possibly.
Well, do you know? So for this one, I didn't just watch episode 4. I watched the reconstructed episodes 1 to 3 as well. So because I've only ever watched them all the way through once before, and I struggled with this story originally. I wanted to give it a fair day in court, and the word that the Toymaker uses to describe making the Doctor sort of absent for so much of it is he makes him intangible. So he detaches his voice from his physical being. He strips the person, the biological form away, so he can take away your voice, your form. He can basically decide what constitutes you as a living being. And I don't know, that chilled me a lot more now than it did when I first saw it, or maybe I just had more time with the story. Charlotte, earlier on you spoke about how you've been making your way piecemeal through the show, through whichever way you could. So we looked at this. I think you watched it all as well, didn't you? So I'll come to you first. What did you make of this sole existing episode of The Celestial Toymaker? Were you able to pick up the story? And did you enjoy it?
I actually really enjoyed it. I didn't know if I would be able to pick it up because some classic Who, if you miss good chunks of it, you are so lost if you just get like one snippet of it. But you quickly, I think why it works so well is you so quickly get what you're talking about, that sense of what the Toymaker is capable of. And what I love about the performance is with the Michael Gough, I don't know how you pronounce his surname.
Gough. Yeah.
Michael Gough. He's so controlled and he's so calm on the surface throughout all of that last part. And it's only right at the end that he gets angry. And then it's like the mask completely goes then. And he is shouting and bawling and being quite animated. And he's just, I love that. He's so controlled. But like you said, it's that essence of power. It's just so, there's something about this character. And I think that's why Russell's gone back to it. That you watch a classic story and you just think, this is the Doctor trifling with a god. This is the Doctor trifling with immortality. And how on earth is he going to get out of it? And I love the fact also that he only really gets out by the skin of his teeth. It's really close to the wire that he actually does escape. And even then, it finishes on a very sort of somber, we've got out, but the Toymaker's not dead. He's going to come back. It's just the beginning of a sort of battle.
It is very portentous, isn't it? And you can't help but wonder when the episode closes, had they intended on there being sequels to this? Were they taken with Michael Gough personally?
Also, you'd never get away with that weapon that overgrown schoolboy has got.
Oh, you're right. Good point, Ian.
That's a catapult, isn't it, Ian? What would you typically put in a catapult before firing it?
A blast stone. You'd put a stone in there.
These things you could still buy them in shops, certainly through the 80s, couldn't you?
Yep, you could. I'm just saying that boy looks a bit old. He doesn't look. He doesn't look like a kid at all.
I think he was about 40, to tell you the truth.
Exactly. But also, Michael Gough famously played Alfred in the Batman films, didn't he?
You keep jumping to the end. You got to.
Sorry. Yeah. I do like him. He's a good actor. Actually, he's been in lots of stuff. So he's a good actor.
Obviously, with the Doctor absent for a large chunk of it, it's a tester for the. And I do wonder how school children managed back in the 60s, Jack, to have, because it's one thing to have a what do they call it, a Dr. Light episode that we got in the noughties, but when the show lasted just 25 minutes a week and the Doctor was absent for 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks, that's a tough ask of little ones, isn't it? Actually, it would be a tough ask of me.
Yeah, of course. And I can imagine, people were thinking like, oh, is he going to come back? Because, he's nowhere to be seen. It's just, it was a bit daring, I can't lie. It's been a while since, I watched the reconstructions and episode 4, but I remember I had the same opinion as you, Dan. I didn't actually originally like this story, but I've been meaning to give it a go again because obviously the geezer is back in a new form in the 60th specials, and I'm looking forward to exploring this character because we haven't. Well, okay, apart from expanded media and all that shenanigans, it will be nice to learn a little bit more about this mysterious.
Was he not well then, or something? Why did they decide not to have the Doctor?
Well, by this point, he was becoming very unwell, certainly, and he was struggling with his lines more and more. But as I say, they were, as I understand, they were deliberately sidelining him with the thought of, do we just bring him back, as I say, as a new actor, and recast?
Yeah,
which is a shame,
Well, why did they?
Go on, sorry, Shah.
Right. No, so all I was going to ask is, do you know why they did a U-turn on that with what you mentioned originally about them?
No, I'm not actually certain off the top of my head. I would imagine it was a case that they were kind of toying with the idea, and I guess they just sort of changed their minds. Thought, no, go on, let's stick with it a little bit longer.
It caused a lot of problems, Simon, in the corridors of power, as I've read up on. It was commissioned. The story was commissioned by John Wiles, although he left the series before it was actually recorded because of his various clashes with William Hartnell. So you're quite right. The intention was to replace Hartnell during the process of this story and having manifest with a new face, but it was absolutely vetoed by Wiles' superior, the head of serials, a guy called Gerald Savory. Completely vetoed the idea. And that's why John Wiles he effectively quit in protest, and Innes Lloyd came in to replace him. And of course, Lloyd himself would also make sweeping changes. He was the guy who basically fired Jackie Lane a short while later, wasn't he? Yeah. So it was a really tumultuous time for the show, but they did feel that William Hartnell was essential to its continuing. And on the strength of these episodes, listening to the stuff he's not in and watching the stuff that he is in, actually, Hartnell seems really capable in this. He seems actually quite physical in some respects. Shah, you watched this as well, didn't you? So how did you find it? Have you seen many of these orphaned episodes? And were you somewhere where Charlotte is, or did you have a different take?
Yeah, in fact, Charlotte and I are pretty much the same on in that respect, I think. So I watched it the first. I've read it because I really wanted to get the Target novel, but can you believe the novel for this is £130, ladies and gents?
Wow.
So,
and you know what, Shah? I'm going to save you the trouble. It's one of the worst Doctor Who books you will ever read. It's a stinker of a book. It's really badly written. It's badly
Oh,
written.
no way. Because I know
Yeah,
that
so
my granddad has it somewhere.
Don't waste your money.
Fair, but I couldn't believe how much it was, because my granddad says I've got it somewhere, and he collected them like you would not believe, like my stepdad did as well. So he has got it somewhere, but he may as well sell it for a few quid then.
Wow, yeah.
And he said, yeah, I'll try and dig it out. He couldn't find it. It's in the loft somewhere. But basically what I did before is I read a lot about the Toymaker because I didn't have BritBox at the time. So I read all of that and thought it was a little bit dull, to be fair, until I watched the episode. And I actually thought, this is great because, okay, we haven't got the other three, but I get it. Michael Gough's fantastic, and he's like a little bit sexy, but not in a crude way, but more in like a charming way, isn't he? So I really, really enjoyed that. He's got great gravitas, and I got it. The instant I was watching it, I knew what was going on. I didn't know about Hartnell for the same reason that I can't remember whether it was you or yourself, Simon, or Dan, about how capable he is and acts, because I don't think he flubbed once in any of it. So yeah, it was a great watch, one that I would 100% watch again. I watched screen grabs as well, with a little bit of audio that was in there, and then some transcripts. So, and I think it's a fab story. Yeah, I can't understand why you didn't like it. I think it's really interesting, but each to their own. It's one of those, isn't it? And everything's different on a rewatch.
I describe it as a curiosity, and I did enjoy it slightly more this time, I have to admit, but I still felt that if it wasn't for, because the Doctor's absent for so long, if it wasn't for the fact that Peter Purvis and Jackie Lane are both such troopers, they really try and sell this story on the sense of jeopardy behind some really quite simplistic games in a very simple set for the best part of 3 weeks.
Yeah,
they took that all on.
Understood.
Yeah, the dedication and the consummate professionalism of all of them really does. I think it really does stand out, and what a nice team they become at that point.
I think it's interesting that they basically was arguing and fighting, which is what is essentially a kids TV show, isn't it? At that time, the Doctor Who was just considered one of those little small kids shows, and it's incredible that they had arguments and were trying to get rid of the main star and all that. I find that incredible, because today that would kind of never happen, really. Let's face it. I don't think, anyway.
What I find incredible, and I have to go to sec, is how sort of cruel it shows in this episode. The fact that, right, that they are like the whole game bit. It's like when he dies, the schoolboy, you physically see the body, and you see like
time.
like Ian was saying,
different time. That,
I mean, not messed about.
It is. But
you were allowed to scare kids in those days.
So
You're allowed
I'll see
to
you all
scare
next
them.
week.
See you later.
Thank you for your comment.
Yeah,
bye, darling.
See ya.
Good night.
But you were allowed to scare kids in those days. I mean, I will always say this. The thing that really freaked me out in Doctor Who was the episode where that doll came to life at the back of that car. That freaked me out big time as I was a kid. I couldn't sleep a wink after seeing that. Could not. So you were allowed to be frightened when you were that moment in time.
But also, I think the thing is with the Celestial Toymaker, it is. I hear what you're saying, Dan. It's in a way it's a difficult watch, because it is kind of a one-trick pony. It feels like a two-parter, in all honesty, rather than a four-parter. I think it's a great premise. I think it's a really good idea. You're right, Shah. Michael Gough as the Toymaker is just magnificent.
But the unfortunate part is, though, Simon, Hartnell's hardly in it. For 2 weeks, he's not in it. And Michael Gough isn't in it as much as you think he's going to be, given the profile of the character. He's spread quite thinly as well. And the two people, obviously, it's Carmen Sylvester plays one of the characters. I can't remember the guy who plays Joey. But the same two actors are kind of the villains throughout the first couple of episodes in various different guises, and they're just not that good. And I think it's only when you see the schoolboy in the final one, Jack, you think, yes, okay, this is a character that you can love to hate. This is somebody you can boo and hiss at. And I don't think the earlier episodes, okay, we can't see these. Maybe, watching, because there aren't even telesnaps for this. We've just got production photos. But even listening to it, you think, God, they don't sound scary at all.
Maybe they were.
Kind of a threat.
Yeah, to be honest, I think I'm well in the need for a rewatch. 'Cause I haven't watched it in a good few years, and like I need to do it because like the way you're all selling this to me, like it sounds like it's a lot better than I originally thought. And
I ain't selling it to you.
It's a curiosity. It's a real curiosity.
You need to take your time with it, though. That's what I would say. I feel like you need to have a time where you've got no distractions. You really need to zone in because you could lose it quite easily. So just make sure you're really honed in on
the
that.
phone away. What?
Yeah, literally no distractions.
I also think back to when they discovered the enemy of the world, and at that point we'd only got one episode of the enemy of the world, which was really dull and boring. And so I like to think that if they ever did find the Celestial Toymaker, actually it would, as a whole, it would be a lot better than we actually think. It's difficult. It is really hard to judge a story on one episode, and as I say, that the enemy of the world was the classic example of where we all judged it on a really boring episode, and actually it turned out to be a lot of fun and a bit bonkers. So that's the other thing. And again, it's one of those stories that is just right for colorization. The color in it would enhance it enormously. I think it's just crying out for color.
When I watched it again, I thought Michael Gough would have made a good Doctor.
Oh yeah, undoubtedly. And he would have made a cracking master as well. He would have been brilliant.
Yeah, he would have been a great master, a really great master.
And of course, again, it's worth remembering that he was William Gough as the Toymaker was due to come back in 1986.
Yes,
in the Nightmare Fair.
Yeah,
wasn't that an episode in Blackpool?
In Blackpool, absolutely,
Yeah,
Jack. Spot on in Blackpool, and we were robbed of that. Michael Grade robbed us that because the show was cancelled, and so the whole set of scripts that they'd got for that particular season 23 was scrapped, and it went, and it's such a shame because I would have loved to have seen Michael Gough back as the Toymaker. And actually, so I don't know whether you've read the book, Jack. That this is a book you ought to get, Shah, or listen to the audio play of it. It's actually pretty good. It's a pretty good story. It's a bit cheesy, it's a bit corny, but it's fun. Have you heard it, Jack?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, it's something I got when the rumors started going around about the Toymaker, and I really enjoyed it. And that's when I started to learn the history behind, as you said, the cancelled scripts and stuff like that. And
so you're talking about this, aren't you? Big Finish and the Nightmare Fair.
Look at you guys.
So there we are. So that came out quite a long time ago. The Graham Williams script there was adapted because Graham Williams passed away 30 years ago now. So John Ainsworth adapted that for audio, and that's still available from bigfinish.com.
And the Celestial Toymaker in that one, of course, is played by David Bailey, who played Dask in the Robots of Death, and he does a cracking job with the Toymaker. But it is one of those parts that must be sort of delicious to play because it's a real moustache twirling pantomime, over the top melodramatic villain, and those are good. They're always fun to watch, aren't they?
They are. Yeah. The Celestial Toymaker is the only classic story that Michael's never rewatched.
Okay, well, try and rewatch.
Yeah, I'm going to
give it a rewatch.
But it's hard though when some of it's majority.
Yeah, it is tough.
So it's tough.
There's a barrier. It's that accessibility we were talking about before, isn't it, Shah?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll still maintain that you still get it though. I knew what that geezer was about. I knew that lad weren't messing. I knew what his game was. No pun intended. Like I knew what it was trying to do, and I got it, and I loved it. I absolutely loved it. I don't know if that's just because I'm still on a bit of a high with excitement for the Celestial Toymaker to come back, because I had no idea who he was up to about maybe max 9 months ago, or a year ago maybe. I had no idea, so it was really nice to explore that. And just judging by the photos and little tiny bits I've seen, I really, really do believe that Neil Patrick Harris is going to do a fabulous job, because he's already scaring me. Like he already has that look of, oh my God, you're not messing about, you mean business.
No, well, again, Shah, you're right. The part requires a particular kind of actor. It is one of those parts that not just anybody can play. And I agree. I think from the photos and the clips we've seen so far, I must be honest, although I'm not an enormous fan or getting desperately excited about these specials coming up, I agree. One of the things I'm most interested in seeing is Neil Patrick Harris as the Toymaker. I do think he shows good promise for the part.
Well, it looks like sensational casting.
He was kind of like the Toymaker, the special Toymaker in the last Matrix film, wasn't he?
Oh, I don't know. Never seen that.
Well,
Oh,
in the
I
last
never saw
Matrix film, he was the villain, and he had total control over everything that was happening. So he was
Okay.
kind of like the Toymaker in that.
And was he good?
And he was good. He was all right. Yeah, the whole film was rubbish, but he was good. He was good.
It is
so, yeah.
interesting in that on the one hand, he seems a very lightweight actor.
Yeah.
And yet, actually, remarkably, he brings an enormous amount of gravitas.
He's a good actor. He's a good actor.
He is a good actor.
Yeah.
And yet, I think maybe partially because well, certainly I do, remember him so well from Doogie Howser, MD.
Yeah.
It's difficult to get that sort of 12-year-old kid impression out of your head. But actually, as I say, he isn't a lightweight at all. He's really he packs some punch.
Just going back to the story for a moment, we've got a comment here from Time Lord 2023 who asks, "Is it possible that these specials will shed more light on the Toymaker's origin?"
I hope not.
Richard Brooks
I hope not.
says,
Me and you always about origins.
Is it implied that the Doctor has met him before? Maybe when he was on Gallifrey.
Yeah.
As I say, I watched all 3 of the reconstructed episodes here. We've got this quote, this conversation between the Doctor and the Toymaker. They clearly have met before. So the Toymaker says to the Doctor, "It's so nice to see you again. The last time you were here, I hoped you'd stay long enough for a game, but you'd hardly had time to turn around." And the Doctor replies, "Very wise I was too. You and your games are quite notorious. You draw people here like a spider does to flies." So they have met before, and it looks like the Doctor, however, whether he was in the employ of the Time Lords at that point, we just don't know. But it sounds like he was there, and then he wasn't, and Toymaker never had time to get his claws into him. It does continue where the Toymaker says, "It amuses me to give amusement." And the Doctor says, "And should they lose the game they play, you condemn them to become your toy forever. That is one of my rules, certainly. But if they win, they're perfectly free to go." So he's got rules. He's got a code of conduct, almost a code of honor, Shah. The rules are defined. But this is a scary thought, isn't it? So he doesn't literally make toys, or at least not in the original story he didn't. Not in a literal sense. We see him bashing bits of wood together. He turns people into his playthings, which is a really sinister thing to think about, isn't it?
Absolutely. And it's forgive the comparison, please. But it actually reminds me of The Little Mermaid, when Ursula sort of has it where she has the Little Mermaid and all that sort of stuff. But if she loses or doesn't get the prince, whatever, she belongs to them. It's a really strange comparison, but the reason I say that is because the way that the Toymaker rigs them. So of course it's fair to say, "Oh yeah, but if you're free, you get, if you win, you're free to go." But he rigs them in his favor anyway. So it's like, you're doomed.
Heads you win, tails you lose. I mean, I've always thought, I can't remember, Dan or Ian, maybe you'll remember this, back in the 80s, I seem to remember it sort of being speculated. And I think it must have been, obviously after Enlightenment, when that talked about the Eternals. And I seem to remember there was talk that maybe the Toymaker was an Eternal in the same way as Stryker and Rack in Enlightenment, or even along the same lines as the Guardians. Maybe all these sort of eternal godlike beings.
Yeah,
is Toymaker one of those. That was the sort of implication that he might be, if not a Time Lord.
But it's really strange because he only appeared in, as far as I know, correct me if I'm wrong, he only appeared in that episode.
Yeah.
And yet, throughout all the years, people are wondering about, is he from here? Was he a god? Was he this? Was he that? Do you know what I mean? It's funny. This. Yeah, it's funny how that character, resonates.
Yeah,
and he's only been in one episode.
Yeah,
so it's incredible.
It shows, isn't it?
And I genuinely think that possibly is down to sort of the strength of Michael Gough as an actor and the characterization and the costume. The costume is such an unusual costume. It's such an odd choice.
Gorgeous, isn't it?
But fabulous. And so it just is. It's an intriguing concept. It's almost guaranteed. Well, also, I love Doctor Who when it goes into these kind of sideways dimensions that it very rarely does. where we're not in space, we're not in time, we're not on a planet, we're not in history, we're just in some weird, where are we, no man's land.
Yeah.
And I've always liked that, same as the Mind Robber. I've just always thought that's an area that's very rich in creativity and rarely gets explored. So that's something that, again, that I just love about this particular story.
It's stated
Bring all the tricksters back. Love it.
It's stated later in the story that the Toymaker is immortal. The Doctor confirms that, and that even though his world, his realm may be destroyed, may disappear, and in this story it vanishes, doesn't it, Shaw, in a cloud of smoky stock footage from some movie that they've grabbed. It's very strange, but the idea is that it just doesn't exist anymore. And although he exists, he isn't a physical being as such. He is more of a consciousness. Is that what you picked up from it as well?
Yeah, I mean, I this just shows the strength of rumors and speculation, because I did think that the Celestial Toymaker was an Eternal. I thought it was well, I know I can't confirm it, obviously, but I just mean in terms of speculation, I genuinely did believe that. I don't know if anyone else did. So there's that. But yeah, I love that it's very, very reminiscent of the Dream Lord, because I'm a New Who girl. That's the only sort of connection I can make.
I
agree.
I actually thought the Dream Lord was the Toymaker at one point, and then somebody said to me, "No, it's not," and I was like, "Okay, fine," because I so wanted him to come back. But there you go.
Yeah, Glenn Piper in the chat said the same thing. Could the Dream Lord be and yeah, it's all possible. But I still think it's Eternal, simply because you think of Enlightenment, as I say, with the games that they're playing in Enlightenment. And it's all the same kind of thing. It just feels very similar to me.
It's really strange because a lot of science fiction have that particular kind of character. Like in Star Trek, they had Q, didn't they? And he was the same. He was always testing.
He's the nearest, I think, Ian, the nearest thing to the Toymaker.
Yeah, definitely. Because he'd always test Picard, wouldn't he? He'd keep testing him and stuff about his humanity and all that. And the same thing with the Celestial Toymaker. Looks like he's kind of come back and test the Doctor once more.
Do you think, Ian, that there's something about a higher being who can, if they will it, literally just do a Thanos and snap you out of existence, but chooses not to for whatever reason?
I think
themselves.
Well, I think the Toymaker, maybe he's captured so many people as his toys. He just wants a challenge. Do you know what I mean? And I think that's the same thing with Q. Q in Star Trek. He'd be like, he can do anything. But Picard fascinated him. Picard, always kind of figured out what he was trying to do. So he was fascinated by him. And I'm sure that the Celestial Toymaker is fascinated by the Doctor, because the Doctor's very clever. So I think
he does seem to have singled him out, doesn't he? In the story, Shah, it's like it's him. He decides he wants him to stay forever and to play games against him till infinity, forever.
Yeah. Well, he's bored, isn't he?
He's bored. Will Hadcroft in the live chat here, watching on YouTube, says, "I love that the Toymaker, along with the White and Black Guardians, are above and more powerful than the Time Lords." It's like a stack, isn't it, Jack? Of what can they do? What's their power set? That's what we'd say now, isn't it? Power set.
Yeah. Well, there's a name I want to throw in there as well, the Trickster, because
Charlotte just mentioned the Trickster.
Yeah, the Trickster's from like a similar time as well of origin. I think the Trickster, again, I don't know if this is ever confirmed, but I think the Trickster is sort of related to the Eternals from the Pantheon of Discord, whatever.
Yeah,
I think it gets mentioned. I haven't seen Sarah Jane Adventures for a long time, so I can't quite remember, but it was a great character. I agree. Gallifrey Angel in the live chat here, Simon, has never seen a First Doctor episode, so that's Cheryl again.
You're in for an absolute treat, Cheryl. But I have to be honest. Don't start with Celestial Toymaker Part 4. If you're going to watch, William, start with the Aztecs every time. Start with the Aztecs.
Simon Ashley says, "I've never watched the Celestial Toymaker. You've all convinced me. It's the next Doctor Who I'm going to watch."
It's not that great, Simon. Come on,
I
we
think
need to hammer this down a little bit.
I think you're going to be disappointed.
We are quite upset, but it's good.
Watch it with the right. It's not the greatest story I've ever seen, but it's okay.
I think you have to be a real hardcore Doctor Who to really like them, because I just think it's okay personally, and obviously the bits that are missing. What can you do? Do you know what I mean? So it's okay.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Sally Wagenblatt.
Good name.
How will they explain the face change if he's not a Time Lord? Well, it's because it's not really his face. He hasn't got a face. He just sort of exists. He's a non-corporeal thing that chooses to look like a Homo sapien or a human being or a man or whatever, given who he's trying to pit himself against. I think, Jack, he said, yeah, have I got it right?
Yeah, and I think in one of the expanded novels that I read about the Toymaker, I think, again, the chat can call me out if I'm wrong, I think at one point the Toymaker did take the form of one of the Doctor's old school friends or something. Or deceased school friend.
Is that in the Magic Mousetrap audio drama from Big Finish?
Audio, okay, yeah. I do remember hearing that I feel like that's kind of something a little bit menacing about the Toymaker as well, because he's like, he's a god. He's from a time before any of us were kicking about, even the Time Lords, and I feel like that's something, again, to tie in with the mystery. I hope we don't get any origins or explanation on who the Toymaker really is, because that's kind of where the characters like the White and Black Guardian, the Trickster, the Eternals in general, they have that presence and they have that threat, is because you don't really know the full power set. And 1 minute there could be putting you in a toy game, the next minute they could be wiping you from existence, and that's
turning you inside out. Ooh, Simon, I don't like the sound of that.
And this is why I just think those kind of characters are good fun and are kind of in a way you not necessarily unique to Doctor Who, but certainly they're the kind of characters that Doctor Who does very well, and I like to see those characters in, and that's why I'm saying, please, the last thing we want to know is the origins of the Toymaker. No, that's completely misunderstanding the character. We don't want to. We don't need to. They just are. That's all they need to be.
I think that's the reason why they could probably never go back to the Dream Lord again, because he was explained, wasn't he? And I'm brought to mind the Dream Lord again because of this comment here from Dars097 in the live chat here on YouTube. I'm surprised Moffat didn't bring back the Toymaker. He would have been perfect for a Matt Smith or Peter Capaldi episode. It does feel like a very Moffat-friendly villain, I think, Shai. I think he'd have a lot of fun with this character.
Yeah, he would, but then it would be Moffatized, and I don't really want that. I've got nothing against Moffat.
I love that, Moffatized. Yeah,
but I just don't. Thank you.
It's a good one. Yeah, Moffatized.
Yeah, but I don't really. I like Moffat, but I don't want that. He falls in love with his own creations, and that's cool by me, so it's fine. He did them to death, so I wouldn't want him to do it to an actual classic villain as well. Thank you.
He doesn't know when to stop with them, does he?
Yeah. But it's funny, because that's what makes me ever so slightly nervous of Russell bringing back the Toymaker this time. Is he going to be all fart gags and toilet humour? That really worries me.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that?
Because that's not the Toymaker. It's not the Toymaker.
Oh yeah, I suppose.
I doubt it.
No.
He did the right thing with the Daleks. He made me so scared of the Daleks again.
Yeah, that's what he needs to do this time. I don't want him to be doing whoopee cushions for the. You know what I mean?
We're not in 2005 anymore. Yeah.
John Yulden has a wish list here, Shah. He says, "Can we have a Clockwork Robot as a cameo in the specials, please?"
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Bit like that.
If it was up to me, absolutely. Yeah.
I remember having one as a kid.
Yeah, I remember those. I remember those. It's
fabulous.
Great design.
Yeah, and obviously, it looks like he's having the time of his life when he comes back with this new face. I think this picture in particular, when you see him in a moment with Neil Patrick Harris playing that character, this was probably what sealed it for me. This has to be the Toymaker, because he looks, I think part of it actually, Ian, the more I think about it, the more I realise he's channeling John Delancey's Q. Here, I think.
Yeah. I hope he doesn't. I hope. As
I'm sure Neil will do his own thing. He's a very talented man.
He will,
but you know what I'm saying.
But it just, I don't know if I trust Russell T. I hope Russell T doesn't make him like the version of the Master that he did, which was really over the top and silly. I hope he is very calculated.
Oh, I think we can.
And stuff.
I think we can say he's going to be over the top, but I agree with you. I hope it's measured in some way.
Yeah, exactly.
No, look at that photo.
Well, I mean, at least we've got the lollipop stick behind him, though. That's pretty cool. That's very British, isn't it? The lollipop stick behind him. So, at least we're sticking with English stuff. So that's always good for Doctor Who, really. Let's face it.
All the people in the live chat
we're going to get
here.
a top hat and cane.
Well, we've got it. We've got it.
Got it now.
And of course, the beauty of the Toymaker is if they want to bring him back, and Neil Patrick Harris is busy because he's a busy guy, then they can always recast it. Lots of people in the live chat here asking about the original episode, saying they've never seen it, never heard it, want to see it and hear it. It is available. We don't know what's going to be going on with the iPlayer with those orphaned episodes yet, but it has been out commercially twice. It was originally part of the Hartnell years VHS in 1991. That was when I first saw it. Very crackly image. You could barely make out what was going on when the when the final test was on there. But it looks a lot sharper and a lot better in the Lost in Time box set, which came out. Heavens, when did that come out, do you think, Simon? That's got to be nearly 20 years old as well, hasn't it? That 3-disc set.
Which one? The Lost in Time?
Lost in Time.
Oh
yeah.
gosh, yeah, that was about 2005. That came out, as I recall.
Long time.
No, that's I think that's a Matt Smith logo ish. So it might have been just a little bit later. But what makes me laugh is that on the left they really did Hartnell dirty in that picture, didn't they? Why would you do that? Yeah, that's what happens when you put your front-facing camera on by accident. That's what you look like.
Very good.
Fantastic. So it is out there, but yeah, you could. I suspect that they will drop these episodes onto the iPlayer at some point, but as to when, I'm not entirely sure. But the option is there, and I believe that the Lost in Time set is pretty cheap now. Simon, I think you can pick that up a lot cheaper than when it first came out.
And am I right in remembering? And somebody's mentioned in the chat this evening, but I've lost the comment that somebody out there did some animation work on some of the Celestial Toymaker.
That's right.
I don't know whether that's up on YouTube, and it was really quite remarkable, quite graphic.
Was it?
Do you know what? Right?
It was just a short. It was a short scene, about a minute and a half.
That's right.
They're gonna in the future. That AI is going to get so powerful that they'll go back and give AI the script for the Celestial Toymaker, and it will create everything for you. Yeah, that's probably what will happen.
It's just that I remember that animation though that Dan was just. You say it's about a minute, did you? Because I remember that just being really quite remarkable. Right. It was quite. It was graphic in the.
Is that on YouTube?
Very out there. I'm not sure. Is it on YouTube, Dan?
We have featured it on the show before, and we've talked about it several times. But yeah, the guy, I think he produced a scene, a minute and a half, 2 minutes worth, and it was very arresting, very distinctive, and most importantly, probably more importantly than anything else, it communicated the story really, really well. It had a lot of atmosphere, and I know that the guy who did that is now working on another project for friends of the show at Cutaway Comics. So I know that's out before the end of the year.
Oh,
and somebody else, one of our, I think Stephen's involved in that, Stephen Noonan, who's on the podcast with us. So it's more about that another time, maybe.
It's amazing. It's amazing what some of the fans could do. Seriously. I mean, did you see that one where Troughton turned into Pertwee? That was freaking amazing.
Bloody
what
beautiful.
The hell? Why didn't they hire that fella?
I must be honest. I wish the BBC just give the money to that guy.
Just give it to them, yeah.
Yeah, but I wish that I want them to go. I want them to give it to him to go make the Celestial Toymaker just like that in that minute.
Incredible,
beautiful.
Would be spectacular. Will Hadcroft likes the look of the scene where he's waltzing with Tennant as the 14th Doctor in the street. It feels very dreamscape. And sure, those things that we've only really seen pap shots or shots off people's smartphones of that. We're yet to see it with all the production values on, with that kind of smoky dreamscape value that Will talked about. I think this series is going to look gorgeous, and all those scenes that we saw being shot, which at the time I thought there was hundreds of pictures from those location shoots, wasn't there? And to the point where I felt, is this spoiling it for me? But no, I think it's going to look $1 million, and it'll be something else.
Oh, it'd be fab. I'm so excited. I mean, look at that shot. How sinister is that geezer? I'm so up for this. I'm ready and raring to go for it. And even from the trailer that we got, at long last, it was just so beautifully done. The production is gorgeous. So at least, even if everything else is bad, fingers crossed, then we've got that anyway. So what a great little setup.
It is to remind ourselves of some of the things that we've seen Neil Patrick Harris do before. Yeah, we did watch him grow up, Simon, Doogie Howser, MD. Well, I found that a nauseating show at the time, but looking back,
dreadful. It was dreadful.
He was very precocious, wasn't he? And it was all overacted. But I'm kind of fond of those cheesy old shows now. Next time I saw him was in Starship Troopers, Ian.
Yeah,
a great film from Paul Verhoeven.
Yeah,
he had a great success in the Netflix show, A Series of Unfortunate Events too. And then there was that mammoth stint on the sitcom How I Met Your Mother. So Neil Patrick Harris is a pretty big star. I don't know if he's the biggest star to have ever been on Doctor Who, Jack. I'd probably still say John Hurt would be that. But Neil Patrick Harris, he is a big deal, isn't he?
Yeah, he is. And I was watching one of the American Pie films the other day as part of my course. And he has a bloody cameo in it.
Hey, whoa, back up a bit.
I know. Reverse.
Part of the university course. Where can I sign up for this?
Yeah, well, it was. It's to do with the course and all that. But like, he had a random cameo in it, and I was like, "What? Hang on, that's the guy that's playing the Celestial Toymaker." And I was like, "Brilliant." How important is it to be an American Pie film? Like,
he's done a lot of stuff.
Yeah,
he's a good actor.
Yeah, so that's exactly what Lord Thoth says, Ian.
He is a good actor, and How I Met Your Mother, he was hilarious in that. I've watched that. I mean, I didn't watch all the seasons, but he was always after the girl from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., wasn't he? What is it? The Marvel film. He was always after.
I think he was after everybody.
He got around, put it that way. But,
he was in Gone Girl as well, wasn't he?
Yes,
brilliant film. Yeah, he played a right nasty, you know what, in that as well, didn't he? In fact, come to think of it, that's the best I've ever seen him in anything in Gone Girl. I completely forgot I was watching Neil Patrick Harris. Sensational stuff.
He's an actor, though. He's a seasoned actor.
Seasoned actor, and he is mad keen in, or he was mad keen to start on Doctor Who. This is all done and dusted for him a year ago. I dare say he'll be involved in the publicity, but we've got this quote from him at the time. He said, "Thank you for inviting me into your universe. I'll try my hardest to do my worst. The Doctor has no idea what's in store, and even if he does, who cares?"
These quotes. Did he really say that?
I don't know. They do. It does sound like sounds like the publicity department.
Yeah, exactly.
Just let it be done. Just let it be there. It's fun.
I get to have fun reading the things there. Where's the harm?
This doesn't sound like him. Doesn't sound like him at all. Anyway, whatever.
We did get a look here. Do you think this could end up being over the top? These were some shots from the trailer we got a few weeks ago. A spectacular shot of him there as a giant puppeteer, or playing with a giant, what looks like a plasma cannon. They're aimed at Unit HQ. Do you think this may not be the subtlest of Doctor Who villains in Doctor Who history there, Sean?
I love it, but it just reminds me. I don't know if any of you ever played Sonic the Hedgehog, right? On maybe your Sega Mega Drive, because I am aging myself. He looks like Dr. Robotnik in that, and it really makes me laugh. But yeah, do you know what? Why not be camp? It's a special. It's an anniversary. Camp it up, ramp it up. I love it.
Go for it.
I've always thought Doctor Who is a camp show in many ways. It's a camp show. But I mean, that you see, this it also reminds me very much of sort of a Batman kind of villain. That's very sort of Batmanish, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's just every villain is the one, isn't it?
Well, I just hope it isn't. I just hope it isn't too camp. I mean,
I agree.
Go too much.
The thing is, the way I look at it, Doctor Who is camp, but it's not knowingly camp, if you know what I mean.
I disagree.
It's camp incidentally rather than.
No, I don't. I've never seen any of that stuff in Doctor Who, classic or New Who. Never. I mean, if you've seen it, great, but I've never seen it. Ever.
I think it's. Well, I guess it depends on your definition of camp.
I guess.
Yeah, that's a good point.
It's heightened. Maybe it would be fairer to say it's heightened. Doctor Who is heightened. And certainly that is heightened, isn't it?
That big cannon.
See, I haven't got a camp sensibility, and I've always been a little bit mystified by the people latching onto that about Doctor Who, or noticing it, let alone celebrating it. I love that side to it. But I suppose that's just proof of the fact that this is a show that can be all sorts of things to all sorts of people, Simon. And I'd never want to take that away from anybody.
We need to do a whole show on camp. Listen, by the end of the show, I'm trying to convince you all that it is camp.
Excellent.
No, I believe you. Enough people tell me, Shah, that I believe everybody who tells me this. But I suppose what I want of not just these specials, ideal Doctor Who, is for that quality, like you say, the Batman 66 quality, to be measured in with with pathos, room to let actors do their thing, to flex their muscles and use their chops and all those things, all those biological things that we talk about acting as if it's some sort of higher art. And I think David Tennant, he's often on the cusp, isn't he? Between he's a kind of a comic book actor. Tennant he can be right on the edge of almost overacting and then brings it right back down. I think he knows how to act in a comic book way that fits perfectly with Russell T Davies' comic book version of the show. And as long as they get the balance right again this time, because I feel they pretty much always did before, then I'll be completely fine.
I don't know. I think that was his his version of the Doctor. He was gurning a lot. He was shouting a lot. He used to run a lot. Do you know what I mean? And that's David Tennant.
I'd say he was animated, is the word I'd use. Very animated.
That's a good word. That's a good word.
Still, though,
That's a great word,
Matt Smith was very different to him. Everybody brings their own thing to the Doctor, don't they?
Yeah,
so, God bless him.
Matt Smith was very much, but he was very much.
Matt Smith was all this, wasn't he?
Yeah,
it was all this.
He's animated as well, but his physicality is unlike Matt Smith. Can't sit still, basically. He's hyperactive.
I think Matt Smith reminds me of some of the characters in the Carry On film. Every time they mention sexuality or how good looking a girl is, he was kind of like, what are you talking about? I'll keep away from that kind of thing. And he reminds me a lot of that character you just mentioned just now, Dan. He reminds me, the way these mannerisms and stuff like that, especially
I think it's because he dialed up the asexual qualities of the character as well to make him much more childlike, which I know was like nectar for some women out there, including this one.
Where Amy tried to kiss him. Remember that scene where Amy tried to kiss him? That's remind me of some of the characters in Carry On, how they would, be blush. Yeah, exactly.
He came over all unnecessary, didn't he? That was
came over.
I mean, I hate that scene, but it's a great way to say it.
Yeah. It is. I mean,
and Clara's like, "You're my boyfriend." He's, "Oh, ding dong, I'm a bit rusty, but I'll get a manual." Like, I just love it so much.
Right, and you tell me the Doctor Who isn't camp.
Exactly.
I never noticed any of that stuff. Now you're pointing it out, you're going to make my viewing.
Well, I mean, just going back to the Celestial Toymaker episode 4. That's just as camp as Christmas. I mean, it just is.
Oh, God.
It just is.
I'm here for it.
I think. Yeah, going back to that episode from all the way back in 1966. Obviously, I think what the series needs in the here and now is the pressing concern. All the things we said earlier on, Jack. It needs to make this big impression. It needs to bring back people who've left it or were pushed away by it. Either or, it needs to get people who haven't seen it watching, and ideally get us lot punching the air as well to remind us how good the show could be. All those sorts of things. But specifically when it comes to Neil Patrick Harris in that character, I do hope it is a kind of fitting tribute in some senses to the character that Michael Gough established all the way back in 1966 as written in those scripts. The scripts to that story, that was another, they were rewritten 2 or 3 times over. And yet the character, just as you say, Shah, it's very, very clear what he wants, kind of who he is or what he is, and what the stakes are. And a lot of that, especially with the absence of somebody to play opposite, because he didn't have a Doctor to play opposite in the way that Neil is going to get to in these specials. It's a testimony to the skills of Michael Gough as an actor. He was 50 years old when he played this part back on television there opposite Hartnell. Hartnell was a little older, wasn't he? Hartnell would have been about 60, 61, something like that. Yeah. And I think they are quite well matched. But Michael Gough was a British character actor who made more than 150 film and television appearances. His first film was in 1948. And he became best known, I suppose, Simon, for roles. He was, what would you call it, a company player in Hammer horror movies, wasn't he? So he played in the original 1958 Dracula with Christopher Lee, for heaven's sake.
Yeah, he was a repertory player for Hammer. I mean, sadly, Dracula, the 1958 Dracula by Hammer, which I still think is the best version of Dracula out there. I absolutely love that film. Bless him. Oh, gosh, and you're going to hate me for this, but Michael Gough acts not very well in it. To me, it's one of his worst performances because it's almost like he's acting in a different film to everybody else. Everybody else kind of gets what they're in, and they're in a very camp film, to go back to the same phrase again. And he's almost like, I don't actually want to be in this film. I don't know what's going. I don't know. It's not that he acts poorly. He just doesn't act in the same way that everybody else is acting. It's like he sort of sleepwalks through rather than giving it, dialing it up to 12 like everybody else does.
But to be fair, though, I'm not defending them or anything like that. Those things were shot really fast,
very fast,
very fast, and they had they were using the same studios over and over again, just redressing them and stuff like that. And he got pulled in. You know, he's essentially a man on stage. He's essentially an actor for stage. So when he got pulled into it, he just did what was best. He probably didn't even get any direction or anything, you know, because it was moving so fast. So, you know, it is what it is at the end of the day.
Absolutely.
I love those films.
I love the films. And that's why I don't really mean criticism of him. It's just like he just wasn't quite invested in it in the same way the others. But absolutely, I'm sure there are good reasons why that was the case, because he's a cracking actor. I'm right in Dan, aren't I? Remembering that he was in Batman. He was what's his name in Batman?
That's right. Yeah, this is where most people will recognise Michael Gough because, well, to be fair to him, this was a hell of a career. So he had that period with Hammer, certainly, but this man was never not in films. All through the 60s, all through the 70s, the 80s, and even the 90s. But it was this turn as Batman's butler, Alfred, which people will definitely recognise him from the most. He was there in the 2 Tim Burton films back in 1989 and 92. And in fact, he was the only actor, I think. He's one of 2 actors to appear in all 4 films. So Pat Hingle being the other one as Commissioner Gordon. Yeah. But he got to be Alfred. Well, he outlived 3 entire Batman, didn't he, Ian? He was opposite Michael Keaton and Val Kilmer, and then George Clooney too. And all 3 of those actors have spoken very fondly of him. A great performance, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, he was a terrific Alfred. I just love that line where he says, "Shall I put something away for you?" And Batman says, "Yeah, don't put anything away from me. I'll get drive-through." Do you know what I mean? That kind of thing. So that was the kind of dialogue that we had in the later Batman films with Clooney and Kilmer. But he was extremely good when he was with what's his name? Gosh, my brain's gone on freeze now. The first Batman.
Michael Keaton.
Michael Keaton. Sorry, brain gone on freeze. Michael Keaton. He was obviously the best.
Oh yeah.
Michael Keaton films. The other ones, it looks like he was just phoning it in. But,
it's funny, isn't it, that Michael Gough is the straight line through them all, because they do change so drastically tonally, don't they? Yeah. Have you seen any of these films, Shah? Do you recognise Michael from those?
Yeah, I've seen the Michael Keaton one, and I have seen one of the George Clooney ones. I was very young though, because I'm not really a DC girl or like a Batman girl. I'm way more Marvel. But well, I have been up until recently anyway. That's another story. But Batman is the only one that I'll watch out of DC.
Yeah, Batman's cool. Yeah,
always. Yeah, I haven't watched The Flash though yet, but I've been told not to. So
recommend it. Yeah,
okay. Don't watch it. I will probably be strung up and unsubscribed and everything else if I don't mention. People are screaming at me in the live chat. Don't you know that he came back to Doctor Who? Of course I do. Yes, he played Councillor Headin in 1983. So there he was in Arc of Infinity as Councillor Headin, a Time Lord there in his robes and in his headdress, Ian, punching away at a console there. And it's again another very Michael Gough, very deep, throaty voiced character. He's in this, Simon. I feel like Goff plays it more than ever as a stage performance. It's a stage performance that he gives.
We've spoken about this.
He's projecting a lot.
We've spoken about this, that these actors, right, they're old school actors, and they didn't care whether it was a BBC episode of something or whether it was a movie. All they wanted to do was to work, you know, and that's the great thing about this guy. He was old school.
But yes, but I mean, Dan is quite right. He is sort of over the top, isn't?
And I love this story. I love Michael Goff in it, but I'm not so passionate about this stuff. I can't see the flaws in it.
But the opposite, of course, to that is the gravitas that he brings to it. He's absolutely fantastic, I think, to watch in it. You're right, Dan, that there is a staginess to it, undoubtedly, as there is to an awful lot of classic Doctor Who anyway, and particular actors of that age. But it's still a lovely performance, and I just love the gravitas that he brings to it.
Well, the reason why he's hammy is because he came from that era of villain twirling moustache villains, didn't he? So he obviously, obviously doesn't know how to play them. The only way he can play them is through the stuff that he's seen, and I guess that's how he chose to play them. I don't know.
Yeah,
you know.
Peter Harrington in the live chat says he did fun, sinister very nicely. He played a similar kind of character in. Actually, it was a very Hammer character he played in the Avengers. I think he was in that.
Yes,
he did a couple of cheap sort of monster movies and things where he played mad scientists. All that kind of stuff. And I don't want to do down that style of acting, because I always enjoy when these guys, when they do what it is they do. But it is from, as you, I think you're right. I think it was of its time.
Yes. Cybernauts, I remember them. They were deadly.
Yeah, I mean, they were acting as though they were on stage. It's as simple as that, because back in the day, certainly in the early 70s, television drama was very much just a case of plonking a camera down and recording as though they were on stage. And so that's where they'd come from. They'd come from the theatre, and that's why that particular age of actor. That generation, that's how they acted.
That's why it was so gorgeous. I think that when I can't remember who I was watching it with. I think it was a friend of mine. We watched Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, the original one. And it's just such a different way I'm going. And he went, "Why haven't we got actors like that anymore?" I said, because at the time they were stage actors. They could sing, act, and dance. They didn't need any other help with anything else. And that is why classic films are so beautiful, in my opinion, because you've got all rounders all the time, and you'll never
hit the nail on the head.
You're absolutely right. Michael says the classic Doctor Who stories were blocked as stage plays.
They were.
The old recording stars that have been rehearsed and run through like stage plays. Televised theatre. Televised theatre is the expression we often use.
What it was, Dan.
The description. And finally, we've got a comment here from Time Lord 2023 who says, and I had wondered about this. I was tempted to try and find an interview with Michael where we talked about this, but in a 1983 interview with the magazine Doctor Who Weekly, Michael Goff said he was amused by the show and that he enjoyed playing the Toymaker. I think he seems like the fact that he was so consistently in work, Simon, right? He continued working with Tim Burton right the way through. He was in Sleepy Hollow and all sorts. I think the fact that he was consistently in work means that he probably did. We talked a little about another actor on another show recently about David McCallum. He was another one consistently in work because he seemed to just throw himself into whatever he was doing for shits and giggles, for want, and a few quid, but he seemed to enjoy whatever it was he was doing at the time, and that could explain why he continued to appear in films throughout his entire career.
They were jobbing actors again, though. They were those kind of actors. Same as Donald Pleasance, for example. I think he's been in more films. Same as Christopher Lee. They've been in more films than anybody else on the planet, kind of thing, between the two of them. And that's because they were jobbing actors and they just got on and did it. And they were also, again, we've talked about this a lot. But those actors were character actors. They played different characters.
Yeah, but they also been in loads of films and also made contact with producers, directors, and stuff like that. So it's best to cast someone that you can rely on and not try someone new. So that's why they kept getting work over and over again. Because if you cast Goff in something, you know what you're going to get, right? So that's why you keep casting him, right?
And that's why also, Ian, I think that they just didn't have sort of delusions of grandeur. They were very much, the term jobbing actor means it was a job to them. They enjoyed doing it, of course they did, but they just got on and did it. So it wasn't that they had sort of delusions of grandeur or desires to be the lead in this or anything. They just wanted a job. They just wanted to work work.
Yeah.
Troughton was the same, wasn't he? Even though Troughton was the lead in a couple of shows before and after Doctor Who, he, as long as he was working, he didn't really care.
He just wanted a job. That's all he wanted. He didn't have any obsessions with anything at all. Just wanted to work.
He was a good actor as well.
Yeah.
Patrick. He was. I mean, you just got to look at him in The Omen. He was absolutely brilliant in that film. You know.
Oh my God, The Omen.
Small, yeah. But he was great. You know what I mean? Those kind of actors, they just wanted to work. That's all. You know. To me, I think the money was the bonus for them. I think. You know, but they just wanted to work.
Yeah, I kind of respect that, to be honest. Yeah, I think that kind of like acting style and stuff. Yeah, it's yeah, you know, it's something that
it's different. It's different to today. In all honesty, it is different to today's actors.
We still have those performances to enjoy all these decades on, and God willing, to be honoured by Neil Patrick Harris. I'm sure it will be a very different kind of performance, different but modern in the same way that Ian, like you were saying, you know, that was how things were done then, and this could be how things are done now. And I think, given the fact what we've said about Michael Gough, I think as long as it's a memorable villain, as long as it's fun, I think he would completely respect what was being done with it. You know, I don't think he was precious about what he was doing. He knows it wasn't rocket science with this character, and the idea is it's moustache twirling, and it's to get the members of the public out there watching it, sort of foaming at the mouth as to what's going to happen next, and willing the heroes to success. We're going to get to see the new take on the Celestial Toymaker, the Toymaker, in just a few weeks' time. 6 weeks, to be precise, until Doctor Who 60, the Doctor Who 60th anniversary specials. And we might actually, it's going to be a couple of weeks before that. It looks like we'll get the first one, but we'll get the full picture in 6 weeks' time. We're hedging our bets here at Type 40 Live. Thank you for the comments. Hope you're as how can I put this, as down for it as we are, and excited about seeing the Toymaker after our discussion there. Let us know in the comments section, what do you want most from a good villain? That's what Doctor Who really, really needs at this point, and that's what's sure to get the general members of the public invested in it if the Doctor goes head-to-head with a great, great villain. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the cloister bell to get all the notifications. You won't miss a single one about what's going on next, when, why, who's here, and what it's all about. There we go. Okay, yes, one more thing, I think. One more thing. It has to be. I think we can't possibly leave out the pretty pictures.
Go on. You're watching Type 40.
It gets better every time.
What a pretty picture. Pretty pictures indeed for the 60th anniversary. And talking about pretty pictures. Oh, bless them. What's this? What's happened? Firstly, what have you done with our Sarah? I know she's not here. Where is she? What have you done with her?
It's nothing to do with me. Whatever she's done tonight is nothing. I cannot claim anything towards it. That is all on her. But yeah, we played our own little game. I don't know if any of you managed to catch it. If you did, awesome. Thank you. I embarrassed myself immensely. I am genuinely still red-faced by it. But if you did get to see it, it was just a great little game between Sarah and I that you could all get involved in. And we decided to play a little, almost like a guessing game. But it was a lot of fun. Really enjoyed ourselves. So
okay, so tell them what it is in a roundabout way. Tell them where they can find it.
Well, you can find that on my YouTube channel, which is at Geek Rambles. The most recent one that I did as well. But yeah, definitely get involved in it. I give it a watch. It's half an hour of me and Sarah acting like fools. Just because we had a little bit of a we were in an induced state. I think it's very fair to say. Induced state. But I have got one more pretty picture that I would love to share with you guys.
Marvelous. Go on. Hit us with it.
So, Lil Cooper, our good friend, the Tiny Time Lord, decided to send me a little gift.
Oh, wow.
A couple of days ago. Very, very kind of him. Him and Tony put something together, and he said, "Can you please wear it on your next stream?" And I said, "Of course I will." He even wrote me a little note, which is over there, so I can't go and grab it. No, I'm wearing it. So
Oh, you're wearing it.
Oh,
okay.
here
I'm
we
wearing
go.
it. So what was awesome is that it's got my favorite companion with a quote that I keep quoting. We've got a bloody Martian in the shed.
Hey.
Look at that.
Oh,
Isn't that
wow.
fab?
Incredible.
Isn't that
Fantastic, Cooper.
wonderful? Isn't that great? He designed it all himself, and there's no yeah, you can see there's no like pictures that he's popped on. He's designed every single aspect of it, and it is wonderful, and I love it. So thank you very much, Cooper. I absolutely love it. I'll wear it all the time.
Brilliant. This is Cooper that we saw at Hooverville, isn't it? And did his Sylvester McCoy impression so brilliantly. What a star he was.
He really was. If you got his clip, Dan, go on, give him a little thing if you've got it with you.
Have I got his clip? I haven't got his clip. We're not in a playable form, I'm sad to say. No.
Never mind.
I haven't got his clip at the moment, but we'll make sure we've got it on the next time. It's Tony, because Tony's his dad. Tony might still be in the live chat. Brilliant.
I think he is.
Says Peter Harrington.
Isn't it?
It's brilliant.
Isn't
Is Tony
it?
still here? Yes, he is.
That is really, really
Hey.
cool.
Yeah, I just love it. I've never had anything like that before. And
really
Tony said it is, and Tony just said, "Oh, can we can he message you about something he's been designing?" I said, "That's very new, of course." And then Cooper said, "I heard you mention it, and I know that you like the quotes. So I thought, and I know she's your favorite companion." I thought it was so sweet. So yeah, lovely.
Brilliant.
Thank you.
Wow, that's brilliant, says Tony. Yeah, it is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, well, nice, says Lord Thoth. And it was insane, says Will Headcroft. I think he's talking about the video shot. Sorry, Simon. What were you saying?
No, I was just going to say that's the kind of community that Doctor Who fans have. Doctor Who fans are just a nice bunch. On the whole, they just are a nice bunch. It's lovely, really nice to see that shot.
I completely agree. And we've been sent some fan art to everybody, some absolute belters, not least of all this one from one of our favourite fan artists. It's the Thin King himself. He's chosen to encapture a special we haven't even seen yet in this fantasy-based artwork, Jack. It's a kind of romanticised take on the characters. It's the 14th Doctor, Donna, and the Toymaker himself. Check it out.
Oh, wow. That's very electrifying. Blimey.
What happened to the Toymaker's eye?
In what way?
He's still got them both, buddy.
What's above his eye, though?
Well, it's just little sparkles, isn't it? It's
no. On the right.
I don't.
It just looks odd. It looks like his eyebrow, but it's not his eyebrow.
Okay.
Oh, I think you're talking about it is some stardust and electricity and things like that.
No,
the
right eye. No, it looks like an eyebrow to me, but maybe you're looking at something different. We're all peering deeply at the screen.
I know.
Yeah. No, it just
thinking. What we're looking at? Let's have a closer look. What's going on here? Oh no, I maybe he's got like one of those shaven eyebrow things that people have.
That's what I'm saying. It looks weird. Don't you think it looks weird? I don't know. It's
weird.
Anyway,
it's just like he's just arched eyebrow. I'm just looking at Donna because she just looks like. She's like
I've got to be honest. I've never fancied Catherine Tate, but this Donna, I'll be down for this. Yeah, we're on.
Even I would.
how's this art been done? Is it AI or
it's a mixture, I believe, Ian. Yeah, a mixture of digital and traditional, I believe. The Thin King, like all good artists, will never will never reveal his process entirely. So I think we can just hope we get more of it at a later date.
He's knocked about 20 years off David Tennant, I'll say that. So he's done a good job there.
It's been very good to him, yeah.
Great stuff, Thin King. As always, yes, Tony's in the chat there. Yes, brilliant stuff. And we have more. This one was sent to us by our mate Warren Green. And I do like this one. He's chosen to put Neil Patrick Harris into Michael Goff's costume here. Ooh. And he's also being menaced by a Wraith warrior that we're going to see in the Starbeast. So check this one out.
Oh, wow. That's quite something, isn't it?
And the graphic proclaims it's a worldwide premiere. He's got the scowl. He's got the scowl bang on, hasn't he?
Yeah, he has actually.
Yes,
so I'd love to. I'm praying that they will actually, at some point during the episode, they will put Neil Patrick Harris in that costume. Just maybe at the very end. Perhaps. I'd love that.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah.
Because it is a great costume.
I think we're going to see a lot of costume changes there. For all we know, it was in Neil Patrick Harris's rider. I think we can speculate on that till the cows come home too. Great piece of artwork, Warren. He sent a few in actually, so we'll put them up on screen over the weeks. Yeah, great stuff. And finally, we've got some digital art too. This one comes from WS Digital, and we've featured her work several times on the show before. But how could we not when it's a digital poster in effect for, well, whichever special the Toymaker's going to be in. Jack, I don't know if he's going to be in 1 or 2 or 3. I mean, we don't know for certain, do we?
Who knows?
Who knows? We'll find out in a few weeks' time. Until then, at least we've got WS Digital's fabulous fan art to stimulate.
Blimey. That's incredible.
Yeah, very, very good.
One of the circus posters there, Shah, do you remember you were talking about when we saw the scenes being out on location? They got that all dressed up, and we've got playing cards, we've got Gallifreyan graphics, we've got the clown face and the Emporium. It's all set against the Emporium there.
There's a lot going on there, isn't it? But it's great. It works well.
Yeah, it is. It's very good.
The game is on, Simon. The game is on.
What episode's that then?
Well, we don't know.
First episode.
We don't know.
We don't
know, buddy. Okay. Fantastic as well, says Ezra Goldstein. Smashed it, says Who Fan Dan, just tuning in. He's just smashed it. Well, I hope it was a good one. And
got another one.
Yeah, so I can't have a fag and go back for round 2 in 20 minutes. What we got? The games are for. Did I really just say that live on YouTube? The games are for.
I can't believe it, Dan.
I like the cards. On the left.
Yeah, I like the cards because the cards are just so. I mean, it goes back to the Target book that Shah was mentioning earlier that sort of had the cards on the cover, and definitely the cards are very Toymakerish, aren't they? And I really do like the design. You know, I'm not always hugely complimentary about modern Who, but I do like what they've done with the look of the Toymaker in this. As I say, I'm hoping for some really cracking costume changes. But I like the look that I'm seeing so far. I love that top hat and cane look. It's good. It works very well.
I actually wish they'd left the Doctor out and just focused on him.
Yeah, you're right, actually. Yeah.
Yeah, not to criticise it. I still think it's wonderful. That's just if I could change anything, that's what I would have changed.
Tony L loves the use of colour. Loves the use of colour there, Shah. Lots of red.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like what they've done on the Toymaker on that artwork.
A lot of designers are afraid of using red because it can often, it's such a strong colour, it can often drown out artwork. And you can see why. Nice.
Yeah, it just works well.
People do like this, the merchandise posters, all that kind of thing. So a fabulous piece of fan art there. Go and follow WS Digital. Their work is up on Instagram and on Twitter, and be sure to tell them that Type 40 sent you. As always, if you're a fan artist or you know fan artists and you think that we should see their work and get it up on screen, let us know here at Type 40. We're all ears and eyes for any digital or traditional art. And it doesn't have to be two-dimensional art either. It can be cosplay, it can be model making, any kind of art, basically. Just get in touch with us through our social medias and send us their links where we can go and find them, or send them our way. Maybe we can get them in for a chat or whatever. We do speak to artists sometimes too on the various shows that we put together. Please use the hashtag Type40Live and let them know where they can find us. To timestamp some of these for the artists, because some of them do get in touch and say, thank you, thanks for having my artwork on and all that kind of thing. It's lovely that people like to be featured and aren't thinking to themselves, oh God, where did they get that from? And at least they're not asking for money, which is even better. More pretty pictures in the gallery next time as we inch closer to the 60th anniversary. What are we going to get? When are we going to get it? We're not entirely sure, but we'll be ready to talk about it on our social medias, Instagram and Twitter, at Type40 Doctor Who there, or you can come and find us on Facebook in the Type40 Facebook group, along with all those other fans, classic series fans, new series fans, and everybody kind of waiting. I think most people, even if they claim they're not excited, they're still counting the weeks till all new Doctor Who, the 60th anniversary, and wondering about which snacks they can get in. Ian, jam tarts or jammy dodgers? What are you going to go for? Or are you just going to get both in? It's the anniversary, after all.
Both of them.
Both of them.
And
at the same time.
Yeah. Yeah, screw the diet. Yeah, it's Christmas in a few weeks as well.
It is the 60th anniversary, like you say. Chocolate hobnobs for me, definitely chocolate hobnobs.
It's going to be. So is everyone going to obviously watch the episodes live, sit in front of the screen with some jammy dodgers or jam tarts, whatever?
Probably.
Yeah,
fingers and custard.
Right.
Yeah.
I've
with
had
their
various
Type 40 mug.
Yeah,
I've had various rituals over the years. I used to always eat strawberries when I was watching Doctor Who, when it used to be on in the summer. In 2005 and 2006 and 2007, when it used to be on in the summer, I used to get a lovely bowl of strawberries, and I'd sit there drinking a glass of milk, bowl of strawberries, pretending I was at Wimbledon or something like that. Yeah, a glass of milk. I love milk. Yeah.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, skimmed milk.
I can't bear it.
I can't bear it either.
Me neither.
Yeah,
You're on your own, Dan.
I'm a big milk fan. Yeah,
Down in the corner with his milk.
I can often be found saying, "Oh God." No. I've got away with what I've said so far. Let's not tempt fate. We have a comment in the live chat I want to get back to, partly because I don't really understand it. So we've got this one from Michael, who simply asks, and it might be a nice one to finish on.
I know what this is about.
Can all the panel pronounce the word master?
I know what this is about. It's because Michael was amused by the fact that Ian says fast and I say it fast.
Oh.
And so we want to know how we all pronounce master. And we know that Ian is going to say master. And we all say master.
How do you say it, Sean? How do you say it, Sean? Master.
Master.
Jack.
Master. But I'm being honest. Master.
Ian.
Simon.
Master.
There you go.
And I'm a master too.
There we are.
Careful. So we're 4-1 there, Ian. I hope that satisfies your curiosity, Michael. You can rest easy now. You can sleep. You can sleep tonight. Not Morster, says the Lord Clock. Or Master. Yeah. No, that's our definitive answers. But obviously, results may vary on that one. Let us know how you say master in the comments. Oh, maybe not. Send us a voicemail. Yeah, send us an MP3 with you pronouncing the word master.
An MP3? God, you are, Dan.
Send us something. Yeah, send us something. The people
don't do MP3s anymore. Has it moved on by now? Has it moved on from MP3s?
W something.
WAV file? I don't know.
Just a voice note, innit? Just a voice note.
A voicemail? Yeah, drop us one of those. Like the lady says, get us one of those. Thanks, guys. So it's obviously hit the spot for Michael. We've got thanks, guys, and 2 kisses. So,
I want to know where Michael's at. Michael, where are you from? I'm just because I know he was amused by the English accent, so I'm guessing that he's not English. I need to know, Michael. Quick, before the end of the show. I really need to know, where are you from? Thank you.
Go on, you've got 2 minutes.
Peter Harrington adds another one in the mix. Mass Dare in Liverpool.
Oh, Mass Dare. Oh, yeah, it would be, wouldn't it? It'd be Mass Dare.
Oh, you suit me in a scarf, Simon. I was not expecting that.
We can't possibly top that. At least we've got a few days to think about it anyway. More Type 40 Live in a few days' time. When we catch up, we're going to get our ears tuned to what's been going on in the musical world. And for the people who've been saying, have you not heard the new theme tune? Yes, we have heard the new theme tune. We can't possibly pack everything into one show. The entire concert drops on Radio 2 this coming Sunday night. And we'll be back on Monday to review it in all its glory. Every semaphore, every note, every swish, and every beat of Murray Gold's baton. We'll be talking about it here on the next edition of Type 40 Live. You're not going to want to miss it. Shah, thanks so much for your company and that fabulous T-shirt and that beautiful smile and all your observations too about what we've been chewing through tonight. God, yeah, we've got through a lot, haven't we, in the last couple of hours? You were even here for a lot of it.
I know, it's unheard of, isn't it? Thank you all the same.
Thank you. No, it's our pleasure. And get over to Geek Rambles for that video of Shah and our Sarah, drunk and disorderly throughout all of space and time. Jack, what's going on in the Nerd Den over the weekend? Anything to tease and tantalise us with?
I've got a couple of interviews here and there. And Monday, I'm actually on a night shoot, which is very exciting.
A night shoot? Why? Yeah. Well, I daren't ask. Firstly, is it legal? Secondly, are you being paid? And thirdly, can you tell us anything? Can you tell us anything?
I wish it was Doctor Who, believe me, but there's some time travel involved. No, I'm just playing a waiter in a cocktail bar and
Do you have a line?
Oh no, a song about that.
Oh, I do have
Well,
a few lines.
then
actually.
you get paid more than just.
Only
an
Simon
extra,
got that
right?
joke.
I did get that joke, Dan. Yeah,
I got it.
Thanks, mate.
Unfortunately,
Thank
not
you.
getting paid a lot, but you know.
All right.
Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's still
You're doing it.
experience.
It's all fun. It's all good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I get to play a socially awkward boy. Kind of hits home a little bit.
we need to know where we can see it once we can see it.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I'll be screaming it from the rooftops.
Did you have to? Did you have to audition, mate, or were you invited to take the role?
Invited.
There you go.
That's even better because they want you.
You'll be glorious. I've no doubt at all. Ian, another weekend out shooting in the nicest possible way in the alleyways and street corners on Rebecca Gold 2, I hope.
Yeah, I'm shooting 4 days on Rebecca Gold, which is, I think it's the climax. We're shooting as much as we can. And I think you might be able to spot someone called Shah when it's actually finished. Maybe. Who knows?
So she gets a pass and none of the rest of us do.
He lives in London. You guys live
Simon.
elsewhere. What can I say?
Simon, how much nagging did I have to do?
You did a lot of nagging. I'm pleased for you. After all that nagging, at least it paid off.
Over a couple of drinks, yeah, we persuaded him.
I had to put my headphones on when she was nagging me. I was like walking down the road, she was still behind me, nagging me. Like, it's crazy.
All it took was a drink in all bar one, and we were sound, weren't we? We got it sorted.
Yeah, I tell you what, that sounds fantastic. This sounds even better. Check out this flash show. So, Tony, he's only off to Vegas. Good night. Have a good weekend. I'll try and catch you next week if I can, but I'll be in Vegas. Well, enjoy yourself, pal. Don't worry about it. Have a brilliant time, Tony. And yes, Simon, thanks for your company.
Welcome. I'm just going to say, Michael's in Manchester. Michael, I'm so disappointed. I thought you were going to be somewhere really exotic, like LA. He's in Manchester. But thank you.
He's got no reason to take the piss out of us, has he?
Hilarious.
Thanks for your company, Michael. Good stuff. And that's it for this one. We always have the time. I know. We always have the time if you have the space here at Type 40 Live. That wraps it up for this edition of the show, but we'll be back very, very soon. You all take care. We'll speak to you again on the next one.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ta-da.